lectern. Introduce yourself. You are on television this evening as FCTV does broadcast our hearings. So the first matter this evening, and I apologize, I do want to introduce Sari Budrow, who's our zoning administrator to the far table, and Melanie Matthews, who's our recording secretary. Our first matter is continuation for application 22-13 in the matter of Tagan. We have a request that has come in that is requesting that this variance application be withdrawn without prejudice. So I'd ask the board to make a motion to that effect.
So moved. Second.
Mr. Zielinski, Mr. Haddad, all those in favor of withdrawal with prejudice, say aye. Without prejudice, I apologize. Kevin knew I was going to do that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Unanimous vote. Thank you very much. The next matter.
Excuse me, Chairman. Did you designate as a voting member?
The voting members on that were myself, Ken Foreman, Scott Zielinski, Patty Johnson, and David Haddad.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And the next matter is an appeal that was continued for Michael Eder. I have recused myself on that matter in the past, but I understand there's a motion, or there's a request that will not cause me to have to leave the room.
Right. There's a request, again, for withdrawal of the Appeal 93-12 without prejudice, and so I guess I would ask the board for a motion to that effect.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chairman. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, passes unanimous.
And that was a 4-0 vote.
And that
Yes,
was
I'm in favor.
Ken, Scott, Patty, and David. All right, thank you very much, Ken. Now we'll move into our new hearings, and the voting members this evening, because we're going to try to give Mark a little break, will be David Haddad, Scott Zielinski, myself, Ken Foreman, and Patty Johnson. So the first matter is application 36-13 for Susan C. Gallagher. I'll ask the clerk to read this into the record.
Being all persons deemed affected by the Board of Appeals under Section 11 of Chapter 40A of the Massachusetts General Laws, you are hereby notified that Susan C. Gallagher of Hyde Park, Mass. appealed the determination of the building commissioner pursuant to MGL 40A 8 and 15 and Section 240-202 of the Code of Falmouth that the Lot 499 was merged with Lot 500 and is not eligible for a building permit for a single-family dwelling on subject property at 17 Green Cove Lane, East Falmouth, Mass.
Thank you. And I did forget to mention, as the applicant's representative is coming up, applicants do have initially 15 minutes to make a presentation. After that, we will review information in the file regarding recommendations from other departments and correspondence, and then there will also be an opportunity for the public to participate if anyone's opposed or in favor or just has any questions. So with that, I'd like to invite Laura Moynihan to the lectern.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. For the record, I'm Laura Moynihan, an attorney from Falmouth, and I represent Susan Gallagher, who's the appellant in this appeal from a determination of the building commissioner dated March 7th, 2013, that Lot 499 at 17 Green Cove Lane is not eligible for a building permit by right. Lot 499 has 23,480 square feet of area. It has minimum average width in excess of 100 feet. It has 146.66 feet of frontage, and it's shown on a plan that was registered with the Barnstable County Land Court Registry in 1986. It's in a residential C zone. The basis for the position of buildability for the lot is under Section 240-67A, footnote 7 of the Falmouth Zoning Bylaw. And that was a provision that was adopted by town meeting in 1993 when town meeting was increasing the area requirement in single residence B and single residence C zoning districts. In the single residence C district, of which this lot sits, at that time in 1993, the area requirement was 20,000 square feet. town meeting was increasing that to 40,000 square feet. So what footnote 7 does is it documents the vote of town meeting that said that that increase in lot area from 20,000 to 40,000 square feet would not apply to lots endorsed by the planning board prior to that date. And this lot was one of those particular lots. It was, in effect, a grandfathering provision intended to protect the buildability of lots as of that day in 1993 that were otherwise buildable, as there are many other grandfathering provisions in our zoning bylaw. The current requirements in the RC district are 40,000 square feet of area, 100 feet of frontage, and 100 feet of minimum average width. So lot 499 meets these requirements except for the current lot area, which, as I said, is exempted as a result of the town meeting vote in 1993. And you have a copy of that in your file. That was Article 13 at annual town meeting. There are no requirements in that grandfathering provision of the bylaw other than what I just mentioned: lot area, minimum average width, and frontage. There's no requirement that the lot be vacant. There's no requirement that the lot be in separate ownership. There's no requirement that there be a dwelling on an adjacent lot, etc. So a blanket grandfathered provision with the intention in 1993 at town meeting, if somebody had a good lot that was buildable as of that date, town meeting was not going to take those rights away by increasing the lot area. They were preserving the buildability of lots as of that date. The building commissioner's position is that a merger has occurred with lot 500, which is the abutting lot. And that lot 500 has a house on it, single-family dwelling. There is no basis or support for that position in our zoning bylaw. That would be importing requirements into the zoning bylaw, into this grandfathering exemption that do not exist. And the building commissioner's position essentially is based on the common law doctrine of merger, that where you have non-conforming lots in common ownership that are used together, that you have a merger of those lots for zoning purposes. That has been a position that the building commissioner has taken periodically that I'm aware of on other lot cases as well. However, that position has been rejected by the land court recently, and I filed with your file the decision of the land court in Esposito versus Montori, which is a 2013 decision of the land court, which specifically dealt with the Falmouth zoning bylaw. And in that case, an argument was made by an abutter that the two non-conforming lots in issue had merged based on the common law doctrine of merger. And the court said that that doctrine of merger was not applicable, that municipalities are free to adopt more indulgent bylaw provisions to protect undersized lots, and that's what Falmouth has done. And so with that specific ruling of the court, I think that's very significant here. And what that says is that we have to look to the specific wording of our zoning bylaw only. And our zoning bylaw is unambiguous as it relates to the requirements as of April of 1993 for buildability. So I would submit that the lot has not merged with any other lot. It has been taxed and treated for assessment purposes as a separate lot. It's been taxed as what I would suggest is a buildable value. The current assessed value is about $120,000 by the town. The town's collected real estate taxes on it for many years. There is no covenant or other agreement or contract with the town to treat this as a lot in the same or merged ownership with Lot 500. And there's no registered plan with the land court eliminating the lot line between the two properties. It is land court property. I did search the registry records and was not able to find a registered plan. There is no requirement that the lot be vacant. And you will see from your file material that there is what's referred to as a shed on the property. It's really more of a carport type structure. It does not have a foundation. It's on posts only. It's really a covering type structure. But that in itself is not a basis for removing or eliminating the buildability of this lot for the reasons that I've just said. If it were, then there would have to be language in our zoning bylaw, according to the land court, that specifically says, unless it is not vacant, or unless it has a structure on it, or unless it's been used in common with an abutting house lot. We don't have that language in this particular grandfathering provision. There's another grandfathering provision that requires the lot to be vacant, and that's our provision in 246.6C, which says if you have a lot in common ownership with a lot that has a house next door and you're relying on that grandfathering exemption, then the lot is to be vacant. That's not the grandfathering exemption that this applicant is relying on. This is a straightforward, unambiguous exemption without any such requirement. That structure has been there since at least 1994. If it is even of issue, which I suggest it's not, it's really irrelevant, but if the board feels it is of issue, I would suggest it is a protected structure because it's been there for more than 10 years and no enforcement claim has been made through the courts to have it removed. So it's protected under Mass General Laws 40A Section 7 and Section 243B of our zoning bylaw. So with that, I have filed for the record copies of the deed to this property, Lot 499, showing that it's separately described as a separate lot with the land court registry. I filed a copy of the land court plan showing the separate lot and the certificate of title. So I am respectfully requesting that the board overturn the decision of the building commissioner to look to the unambiguous wording of our grandfathering exemption and the intention of town meeting in 1993 to protect these lots that were good then and should be good now. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. I'm going to ask the clerk to review the referrals from other departments and any correspondence.
Mr. Chairman, the only referral we have is from the planning department, and it states that it appears that the ZBA explained a number of years ago that an accessory structure may not be placed on a lot without a principal use. Since the structure was not removed after the denial of the special permit, it follows that the owner allowed the lots to merge for zoning purposes so that accessory structures would not be subordinate to the house on lot 500. Then there's general correspondence between Ms. Monahan and the office. Copies of the deed and some land court, but no personal letters in opposition or...
Yes, there's 4 letters of opposition. They're just a little bit deeper. I tagged them.
I'm sorry.
Actually 3, because 2 are from one individual.
Huh? I don't know if I apologize.
Am I in the wrong file?
Maybe.
I may be in the wrong.
I'm sorry, I don't see them.
Yeah, I don't think there is any correspondence in the file.
I reviewed that this morning, I didn't see
You
any.
didn't? I'm thinking of a different file, then I apologize.
Go, sir.
We're going to ask questions then, okay? All right, Patty, you want to start us off tonight? Thank you.
Different.
Well, what is your opinion on the planning board's referral?
Well, I think it's a stretch to say, to be blunt. I mean, that's a theory of merger that's being applied, which isn't supported under the Falmouth Zoning Bylaw or at law.
Would you have, after the issues in 94, would you have advised the owner to remove that structure?
Well, I wasn't involved in
No,
1994.
but would you have that? If you were involved, do you think do you think they should have removed that structure?
Well, they certainly weren't asked to by the zoning board in the special permit. It wasn't ordered to be removed. The gentleman, Ms. Gallagher's was her husband, he passed away in 2007, was really the one handling it. So what his intention was or what he was thinking at the time, we don't really know. But as I said, I think it might be something that people are interested in, but it certainly is not relevant to our zoning bylaw.
You mentioned, I might not have heard it correctly, that you did not find a registered plan for this
Correct.
property?
Correct.
For the property or for the subdivision?
Well, there is a plan, there was the plan for the subdivision, and this is a list, I can give you this list of all the plans that have the same plan number. The plan in question is number 314-25. So when you're looking for a registered plan, you'd look from that point forward to see if there is one referencing these lots, and there is not. So I can file this for the record.
We have one already.
Okay, this is the list, the index of the
Thank you.
Oh,
registry.
the index, okay. Those are my questions.
Do you want to look at the
I'm-
index?
No.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Done.
Thanks, Patty. Ken?
So this accessory structure, could you describe the use?
Pardon me?
This accessory structure, this second structure you referred to,
Yes.
could you describe what the use is? Who uses it?
I believe it's just used for storage.
My name is Susan Gallagher, and it was primarily used, he used to, had a boat up underneath this. It was just to cover sort of a galvanized type roof, if you will, with some, just some stakes on either side. And it was for a boat. He would pull up under it, perhaps a trailer, that utility trailer, that he'd put a lawnmower on, that kind of thing.
So you applied for a special permit to build it, is that correct?
Well, this is,
Okay. Susan is, as I said, her late husband had handled this. She does not have a lot of the details of
That's
what
fine.
he was doing or what occurred. But we can tell from the record file that in 1994, there was an application for a special permit. We believe that it was already there at the time. It was a type of after-the-fact approval, where he came forward and asked for a special permit to have it on the property, and it was denied.
And that went to the zoning board or the planning board?
That was the zoning board. Yeah, you have that in your file.
Okay.
And I have a copy, I have a plan that I guess I can file for you. It's dated November 12th, 1994, this plan. It was done by Ferrer Associates, and it is showing the structure on the plan.
And what was the basis of the denial, do you know?
This is your copy, right?
You can keep
Oh,
that.
thank
We'll
you.
file it for the record.
Thank you.
It establishes the date when the structure was there. The zoning board denied it on the basis that they said that it was a separate lot, and that they felt you could not have an accessory structure on a separate lot.
Okay. That's it for now.
Just a couple. Laura, are they sharing a common driveway to both lots through one access right now?
I believe there's a separate
The
driveway
separate?
coming, it's shown on that plan as well,
Right.
into the
Is
corner.
Cove Lane a private road? Cove Lane?
Green code. Green code.
Let me just, if you can give me a minute, I can answer that. I think I saw it taken.
They missed it.
I'll keep looking. I have a listing here somewhere, but I can't recall if there was a taking on record or not. Yeah, I don't see it taken by the town of Falmouth registered.
Okay. And one more, does that other lot share any utilities above or underground that extend over the lot line from 499 to 500? And/or including septic systems, cesspools, any of that?
No, no.
Okay.
There are no utilities there.
Thank you. Thanks, Mr. Chairman.
Hi, Laura. How long did you say Miss Gallagher and her husband owned the property since?
It was transferred, you have those deeds in your file. It was lot 499, which is the subject lot, was transferred to Ms. Gallagher in 2000 by Mr. Everett. And Mr. Everett originally acquired it in 1993. Lot 500 was transferred directly from Mr. Drewley, the developer, to Ms. Gallagher in 1990. Lot 500 is the house lot.
1990?
Yes. So lot 499 was acquired by Mr. Everett 3 years later.
So Miss Gallagher was living there since, whatever, 1993 or whenever the house was up?
90s, yeah.
90s.
Yeah.
And lot 499, has that been maintained as its own lot or in conjunction with lot 500?
Well, our position is that it is a separate lot. Obviously, this carport structure is there and was used by Mr. Everett, who also owned the house lot. But for the purposes of the grandfathering exemption that we're relying on to establish the buildability of lot 499, that really isn't relevant to that because there aren't any requirements that it be vacant, there aren't any requirements that you can't have a house next door, there aren't any requirements that you couldn't use it for a tennis court if you wanted to, or just a yard area with open grass. If we have an open area lot that's yard or woods and somebody's using it to walk through or to play on, we don't deny them the right to build on it.
So that carport, that's pretty much, you're thinking that's the principle for lot 499 and not the accessory structure for 500? Is Is that your line of thinking?
Well, I mean, certainly if I was here in 1994, I would have made the argument that it is a principal structure in itself because it's not accessory to anything. But I think since then, the zoning bylaw has been amended. But again, regardless, what I'm saying is that it doesn't matter to the buildability of Lot 499. It doesn't matter how it's used or if it's used by everybody in the neighborhood, because that criteria is not in our bylaw. We can't look at a grandfathering exemption and say it applies only if X, Y, and Z aren't happening. That's not what town meeting did. That's not what our bylaw says. So by trying to take additional criteria and import it into the zoning bylaw, you're basically making an amendment to the zoning bylaw, which neither the building commissioner nor the zoning board have the power to do. And it is interesting as well that in 2008, there was a warrant article that went to town meeting where, and it was sponsored, I believe, by this board, where town meeting was asked to import that kind of language into one of our grandfathering provisions. And that was indefinitely postponed. Town meeting did not vote for that. And what the specific language was, a vacant lot held in common ownership that does not have any use or activity on said lot that may be serving a separate lot. That was put to town meeting in 2008 to import this criteria so that you can have a grandfathered lot, but as long as you can show that you don't have a use or activity on the lot that may be serving another lot, that's the only way you can have it. That was a zoning bylaw amendment. It did not pass. So what that says to me is that town meeting was saying, we're not putting that kind of criteria in our grandfathering exemptions. We've said that if people meet certain requirements as of certain dates, they have buildable lots. That's what they're entitled to as property owners. That should not be taken away by the town. And this particular exemption that Ms. Gallagher is relying on, like I said, it's unambiguous. All she has to establish is that she has 20,000 square feet of area, minimum average width in excess of 100 feet, and 100 feet of frontage, and that she's in a residential C zone. That's all she has to show according to the language of our bylaw. The building commissioner is saying, no. She's got to show that she wasn't using it with lot 500. She's got to show that it's vacant. She's got to show that she didn't go to the zoning board in 1994. No, that's not what the zoning bylaw says. And the land court has specifically said now, by looking at our Falmouth zoning bylaw, that that's not what you do. You don't apply the common law doctrine of merger, because we have specific provisions that exempt lots from that.
Let me just ask you one more thing. I hate to keep harping on this issue, but there isn't anything defining that lot from the other one, tree line, fencing. To me, that is it, yeah.
Yes, there's a lot line.
That's it, just the bounds.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Reading the file, I'm bringing up the application in 1994, the Everett file,
Yes.
and there was a board member that stated that if you were to remove the lot line, it would make common ownership of the property. So just for your opinion, what is that inferring with regard to, is it, the properties at that time? I mean, trying to give board perspective on the history of what the zoning board saw, what would you think was meant by that board member?
Well, I think as commonly occurs, I would say commonly, I mean, I've done it a number of times in this town, when you have land court property, registered land, which this is, and you want to have two lots or more than two lots treated as one for zoning and assessment purposes. You submit a plan to the land court in Boston and have it approved to eliminate the lot line between the two lots. So you now have one big lot shown on a plan, registered with the Barnstable County Registry of Deeds. In some cases, basically to save time and expense, because that is an expensive process, people will submit a covenant to the town, and I've prepared them many times myself, and they will enter into a contract with the town where they will agree that their two lots will be treated as one for zoning and assessment purposes. People do that if they have a house that's built across a lot line and they have a violation. There are a number of reasons why they might do it, but the point is that's how they can have the lot treated as one and eliminate the lot line for zoning and assessment purposes. That did not occur here.
So the covenant was never pursued?
No. And the assessor's office has continued to treat the two lots as two separate lots for assessment purposes and has issued tax bills for those two lots. So those are the two ways to make such a merger final in the sense of eliminating that lot line.
So your argument is the present lots are in conformity with developing single-family dwellings on each?
Yes.
Or
Yes, lot 500 has a dwelling on it now, and that lot 499 does meet the specific exemption requirements for a
Thank you.
buildable lot.
Okay, Mark? All right. Laura, just, you had mentioned, and you provided the plan showing the structure in 1994. That actually shows a drawing of it. Going through the building department, a building permit wasn't actually applied for until the fall. I think it was September of 1995. So was it actually built before the building permit was sought?
I believe so.
Okay.
I believe, just from looking at it, that when the gentleman came to the zoning board, I think he was probably looking for an after-the-fact approval. And you'll see on that plan that's dated November '94, it says it's under construction.
So when the Zoning Board of Appeals, it was January of 1995, the issue was signed. When that was denied, what was the applicant, what were the options at that point?
Well, the options, I think, at that point were for Mr. Everett to leave the structure up until somebody told him to take it down and take enforcement action, or do it voluntarily, because
Okay.
there was no order in the special permit for him to remove it. So, as I said, if the structure was there, which we believe it was, and the zoning board denied the right to keep it, then you have a zoning violation, technically.
So that would have been non-complying at that time?
Correct.
And although you mentioned that the structure's been there for more than 10 years, and therefore it would be unenforceable in terms of taking it down at this point, that really has no bearing on the issue of being a buildable lot. Is that correct?
That's my position, yes.
Article 13 that you mentioned, the grandfathering position, where did that come into the bylaw? Could you give us the actual bylaw language?
Yes, it's in section 240-67A. It's a little different because it's not a 240-66C exemption.
All right.
If you go to section 240-67A and you look at the current requirements for a buildable lot in the residential C zoning district, you'll see it says 40,000 square feet of area, 100 feet of frontage, 100 feet of minimum average width. If you look at the area requirement, 40,000 square feet, there's a footnote there. And then if you go down further in the bylaw to the actual footnote number 7, that language says corrected single residence B and single residence C shall not apply to any lot shown on a plan endorsed by the planning board prior to April 1, 1993, or to any lot shown on a plan submitted for approval to the planning board prior to April 1, 1993, and subsequently endorsed after that date. So that's the exemption.
What's a corrected single residence?
Corrected single residence B and corrected single residence C means the corrected minimum lot area. So when you're looking at the, if you looked at the actual Article 13, the article that was presented to town meeting is to see if the town will vote to amend Article 14, dimensional regulations of the zoning bylaw by amending section 240-67A by deleting, and I'll just go to single residency, deleting the number 20,000 after the word single residency and inserting in its place the number 40,000.
So
Okay.
basically, you're saying that it means the increased lot requirement does not apply. It was
That's
just
right.
unusual
It
words.
is unusual, yes. And then in that article, it goes on to say add the following sentence, corrected single residence B and single residence C, etc. That's the footnote. So that sentence addition was done at town meeting. And I haven't looked at the minutes, but I'm expecting that somebody said, well, we don't want to take away people's rights to build on these lots. So we're going to exempt any lot that meets the 20,000 as of today is good. And we'll correct that, we'll note that as a footnote in the bylaw and call it a corrected single residence B and single residence C.
Laura, so this is 240-67A, footnote 7. What was the section in the Esposito case that the court referred to?
That was 240, C3.
It wasn't the court saying that 240-66C3 was actually, and the words you used and the court used, more indulgent than what, I think it was Mass General Law, which is, I guess, from where the merger doctrine comes, that language was more indulgent.
No, I would disagree.
No, I'm just asking,
Oh.
is that what it said?
No, the judge said that municipalities, and I'll quote, are free to adopt a more generous grandfather provision, which can indeed trump the grandfather provisions in Mass General Law 40A, Section 6, which is where the doctrine of merger comes in. He then goes on to read the Falmouth Zoning Bylaw provision 240-66C3, and then he says, this is the type of indulgent bylaw language intended to offer protection from the merger doctrine should adjacent properties later come into common ownership. So what I'm suggesting is that he's not limiting that discussion to that particular section of the zoning bylaw. He's talking about types of more indulgent grandfathering provisions which prevent merger, which is what this Article 13 is from town meeting.
Thank you, Laura. Siri, any questions?
No, thank
Do you
you.
have any follow-up questions, Ken?
No.
You'll get a chance. All right, Patty.
You referred to proposal in the 2008 town meeting,
Yes.
which was indefinitely postponed.
Yes.
And did that actually come to a vote at town meeting? Or, because you indicated there was a discussion that town meeting didn't like this. But then usually indefinite postponement doesn't ever come to discussion at town meeting. correct?
I'm reading Article 12, this is from April 2008 town meeting. By unanimous vote, a quorum being present on Monday, April 7th, 2008, the town voted indefinite postponement.
So it was not discussed.
I don't know, I didn't look at the minutes.
No.
This is just the warrant. You can have this for your file if you like.
Thank
Okay.
That's fine. There were subsequent changes that did add vacant in.
Yes.
This was one that did not, but there were two other sections that imported the word vacant.
Yes, and my point there, however, is that the language that was proposed to be imported into the bylaw was a lot more broad than just vacant. It was, not being used in conjunction with the lot, the abutting lot. And so what I'm suggesting is that language was not something that town meeting wanted imported in the bylaw. They may have later said, okay, you can put vacant in under that particular grandfather section, which is not the one we're relying on. It's a totally different section. You can have that. It can be vacant. That's the way our bylaw reads now. But at the same time, the reason I brought it up is because I believe that the building commissioner, in his determination, is importing that kind of language into our footnote 7. He's saying, well, you have footnote 7, but you can only have that protection if you can show that you're not using that lot in conjunction with an abutting lot, that you don't have any structures on it. That language is being imported by the building commissioner. That's not appropriate. It's not authorized. And there's no foundation for that in our zoning bylaw. Until such time as that type of amendment is made by town meeting, this is what the provision says. You have 20,000 square feet, 100 feet of frontage, 100 feet of minimum average width, you have a buildable lot. And that's all that Ms. Gallagher is saying.
Laura, where do you think Mr. Gore's getting that information? What's leading him to make that determination? What information do you think he's drawing off of to make that determination?
Well, he has a file. He said in his determination that he's gone through his building department file. He may have had communications with the owner, but my point is that whatever happened in the 1990s, as far as enforcement went, never came to fruition. It was never completed by the building commissioner or the town. The structure was never removed. There was never any plan registered with the land court to affect the legal merger of the lots, and there was never any type of covenant or written contract or agreement to do that. And so it just went away, I think, is probably what happened. Yet this particular property owner, Ms. Gallagher, she didn't have any intention to give up the buildable status of the property, and has relied on it for many years, relied on the value in that, has been receiving tax bills for it, and I think, like other lots in this town, people rely on what town meeting does.
Was that brought to his attention when this was addressed with him, that she's been receiving dual tax bills and all of that? Was he aware of that?
Yes, I outlined that in my appeal letter, that it was, there was never any intention to merge it on her part. There was, it's been taxed separately. So I think the short answer to your question is that he, I expect, has a file on it because he says so in his determination. But whatever went on in those days was not carried forward. The structure was not taken down. And I don't think it really matters.
Thank you, Laura. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any other questions, Mark?
So if the structure, the carport, was removed, do you believe Mr. Gore would authorize a permit for a buildable lot?
Well, only if this board...
just conjecture, speculate.
I don't know if I can speak for him as to what he would or would not do. I would certainly argue that he should, but I've already made that argument and he's
Would your
denied.
speculation then be if there was no structure there at all, and Ms. Gallagher came before this board asking for or went to Mr. Gore asking for a permit to build, do you believe Mr. Gore, in speculation, would have authorized? The linchpin that I'm saying is the structure.
Right. And that's the basis of his determination, I think, is what you're getting at, is that the structure is there. And because the structure is there, and because the owner of the house lot used it in conjunction with the house lot, there was a merger of the two properties, and somehow the buildable lot 499 lost its protected status. And that's his position. And that, quite frankly, has been his position for a while on certain things. But what I'm saying now, I think the land court anyway has made, I think in my mind, made it very clear by looking at our bylaw that position is flawed, because it's based on the common law doctrine of merger. And that's something that there's many court cases on that don't deal with municipal bylaws that are specifically passed by towns, not by the state, but by towns, to protect their property owners. That's what town meeting has done with our bylaw. And it makes sense. If you go to town meeting, that there are always concerns about people losing rights by zoning changes. And it should be a concern, because like I say, with Ms. Gallagher, they rely on, these are their nest eggs, these lots. And to find out 10, 20, 30 years later that the building commissioner is going to deny you a building permit, that's a hardship for a lot of people. So and in the meantime, collecting taxes on it as a buildable lot, that's a hardship. So what I'm saying, and this is a perfect example, is that if we're going to be doing that as a town, then it should be in our bylaw. And it's not.
Patty?
Has she ever been taxed on that structure?
No.
No.
She's saying no.
That's right. That's what you submitted shows, that structure was never taxed.
I don't, is that on the assessor's card?
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't see it on lot 499.
Okay.
All set? All right, anyone in the public? We're going to start, now this is an appeal of the building commissioner, so what the applicant is asking us to do is overturn the building commissioner. Is there anyone here that would like to speak in favor of the building commissioner's position? In essence, in opposition to this application. John? Please do.
Hi, John Drewley, and I represent my wife Deborah, direct abutter to Susan's lot. A little bit of history is I did sell the lot to her husband, Mike, and at the time he told me he wanted to build a structure there without a residence, and I said to Mike that he wasn't allowed to do that on a residential lot unless he merged it with his house lot. And he went ahead and put the structure in anyway, and we didn't say anything. And when he put underground electric to the structure, the electrical inspector came out to inspect the service and found out there was no building permit pulled. And that's why they had to apply for a special permit, I think, to get a building permit. And I would only ask that, I don't know what the special permit was for. Was it for the structure?
It was.
On a vacant lot?
On that particular lot, there was a...
Which was a vacant lot.
Right, and it was denied.
Denied. So if it was denied and you were the applicant, what would you think that meant? The structure had been built for a couple of years. He built it without a permit. If you were the applicant and you asked to have that approved and it was denied, what would you think that meant? They can just keep it there? We were told they were given the option to either merge the lots or tear down the structure. And since the structure never got torn down, we were under the impression that it was merged. We would not live there for 18 more years with that ugly structure there if we had known it had to be torn down. I was told by her husband, he's passed away, and I was told that they were going to merge the lots. They had to merge the lots. And so we're in support of Mr. Gore's decision.
John, let's see if there's any questions from the board members.
Sure.
Guess not, thanks.
I do.
Oh, Scott, go right ahead.
You said they put an electric service out there.
Underground service
Do they
with a
still have
meter.
power out there now?
Meter's still there.
Thank you.
Sorry, I'll correct that for the record. She misunderstood the question, but there is service from the street to the structure. It isn't active, so I think she
But
thought
those
you were looking at...
utilities run across the
To have a
property line.
light, yeah, yeah,
Thank you.
coming from the street into it.
All right, anyone else in opposition to the application or in favor of the building commissioner? Okay. Anyone in favor of the application? Anyone with a question or a comment? Okay. Back to the board. Why don't we have a little discussion on this one before we close the hearing? Anyone want to start? David?
I'll start, sure. I don't have a problem with the dimensions, this, size, frontage, all that. I totally understand that, Laura's position and Ms. Gallagher's position, but I'm still hung up on, like Mark said, the carport. Is that the primary to that lot? Is that an accessory to the house on lot 500? To me, it is. Now we're hearing it's got power to that. Mr. Drewley stated, he had firsthand knowledge of this dialogue going on, Seems to me through Mr. Gore's letter, that they did have ongoing dialogue with the owners, saying, the shed, the appeal was denied in '95, they had to remove the shed, or he looked at it as a merged lot. I'm inclined to look at it the same, so I'm just curious to see what anybody else is thinking as far as that goes.
Scott?
There was a question asked if the two parcels were maintained as one. And on a site visit, it appears that they have been maintained as one, where you wouldn't see any difference other than if you were looking for the bounds. So in appearance, it looks to be maintained as one lot. And it seems to me that there was no consideration given about the problem with the other building on the other lot. I mean, I have a little issue with the fact that that was just disregarded, and now it's become a blur on how it works. But we have firsthand testimony that it did have power to it. It was used as one lot. I'm in agreement with David. I'm to use a famous person's. I'm hung up on that.
Famous person, David Haddad?
Oh, Patty.
Okay.
I am. You can't have both ways.
Yeah, to me, it's as simple as you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't treat it like an accessory structure on what the special permit denial clearly says must be a merged lot if you're going to have an accessory structure for, more than 10 years, and then suddenly decide you want to have two separate lots. You got to do it one way or the other. That is a distinguishing feature to me. There's no question, if there was no structure, hadn't been any accessory use, this lot would certainly be protected under our bylaws. But I think they lost their protection when they abided by that, when they had this accessory structure and didn't remove it when they were told they couldn't have a special permit.
Patty?
I think this position, I'm going to take the position that it's a separate lot. I just think, I can understand all the other positions. I can also, I've also seen a lot of cases that have been lost on the merger issue, whether it was intentional or not. And in this case, I think this is a pretty embarrassing case for the town, because one, they told them that they lost the case when it was already built. It's never been taxed, which I don't like. However, I've got this footnote. And I think Laura's right.
May I just answer the issue with taxed? The assessors don't feel it has a value high enough to tax it. It's not that it's,
Oh,
ignorance on the town's part. The assumption was the applicant had the right, or was told to remove it. If they didn't, then it's assumed as one, but there's no plan or request showing that. So they have a stand that there's just no, it's not taxable due to, it's not a high enough value for the town to tax. Not all structures are taxed.
I see a lot of sheds taxed that are
Depends on the size of them and what they're
10 by-
used for.
10 by 12, and they're taxed.
I got it directly
I
from
don't know.
the
I'm just
acting
tell-
assessor,
I'm just-
because I had the same question.
Yeah, well, you know,
Okay. Mark?
I see these
Yeah.
two separate issues, one being a denial of a special permit for a structure, and a completely separate special permit request for a single-family dwelling. I don't think one should have be conditional on the other. Because what Ms. Monahan said, the criterion which you decide whether you're going to allow or deny a single-family dwelling, a denial of a special permit for a structure isn't one of them. So I think it's blurred, the fact that one is hinging upon the other, and I don't believe that's the way I interpret the bylaws. I would suggest that the building commissioner is incorrect in his interpretation. I think they are in fact separate, and the structure nonconformity has no bearing on whether or not it meets the correct criteria for a single-family dwelling. So that's my view.
I think the building commissioner should be upheld. And here are my thoughts. First of all, the Esposito case is a land court case. It doesn't have substantial precedent value. I don't read it quite as broadly as Laura does. And I do think when you look at merger, there are a number of things, as we've gone through a multitude of merger cases, including what the indices of merger were. What did the parties intend? And I think in this one, the value of the denial of the special permit is the clarity of what was intended by the town. It was the interpretation of the bylaws at that point. And I don't think it can be much clearer. It says if you have two separate lots, then you cannot have that structure where it is. Because not only is it an accessory structure, but I think I just want to also remind the board, we're also talking about an accessory use, not just a structure. The structure may be protected after 10 years, even if it had been non-complying, but we have a use. The use is storage, whether it be for a boat or whatever is stored in there now. And I think Laura answered the question when I said, what were the choices at the time? And I think Mr. Drewley has supported that, and that was you either tear it down or you merge the lots. I don't think the town's really at fault for not following through, because if the intent was to merge the lots, well, that's the applicant's responsibility, not the town's to go and record a merger. It's the applicant's. So I think everyone might have rightfully assumed, including an abutter, that they were merged. And I think that's where I come at it and say, if you're going to build a structure, you have to be aware of the bylaws. If you're not, and you make a mistake, and you try to correct it, but you get something as clear as the decision in 1994, signed in 1995, that says you can't do it, then the only choices at that time were merger or tear them down. So I think that decision that was made is the decision that we have to live by right now. So I would say that the building commissioner is absolutely correct in this one.
There is another issue in this, which is sort of having some experience with land court properties. They are a pain in the butt to undo a plan. They are really ridiculous. Not that that's an excuse that they never did it, but we don't have any evidence that they even tried to merge the lots. Because, you know, we have a lot of land court plans that are still in existence that don't reflect what's actually on the ground. And the biggest one is the Salt Ponds property that's off the bike path down there. It shows on the plan the town of Falmouth with about 25 lots in there, and it's completely...
I don't disagree that it's...
it's just a pain in the butt.
It may very well be, and that may be the reason, I don't know. I think that
we don't know.
Ms. Gallagher indicated that she didn't know what her husband was doing back at the time. Maybe they attempted to, maybe they didn't, whatever, I don't know. But again, I think you look at the options, and it was tear it down or merge it. That's what was made very clear by the decision by the Zoning Board of Appeals at that time. And that was also after the 1993 decision by town meeting for Article 13. So here you had a zoning bylaw, a zoning board of appeals taking into effect, taking into consideration the entire bylaw, and it denied it. And the reason was because it was on a separate lot. So it left them with two choices.
A footnote.
Laura, you wanted to comment?
Yeah, just a couple of things. Under the definitions in our bylaw of accessory use and accessory structure, which some of your discussion has gone to, in both cases it specifically talks about being on the same lot, which is not here. We have a separate lot. So in 1994, when the board considered this, that was actually one of the arguments of the board, one of the board members at the time, from the minutes that are in your file, that how can it be an accessory use or structure under our bylaw when our definition of an accessory structure requires it to be accessory to a principal structure. We don't have a principal structure, so that's out. On the same lot, an accessory use is a use that's accessory on the same lot and occupies a certain percentage of lot area. So I would submit to you that, although I've said repeatedly, I think those issues are irrelevant to the grandfathering exemption, even if they were relevant, it's not an accessory structure and it's not an accessory use. But moreover, the bylaw says if you have a non-complying structure that's there for 10 years or more and the town fails to take enforcement action, it becomes a non-conforming structure. And that protection is in Mass General Laws, Chapter 48, Section 7. Same provision. So with respect, Mr. Chairman, your statement that it's the applicant's responsibility, I disagree. The town...
Applicant's responsibility I mentioned solely, Ms. Moynihan, as to the recording at the Registry of Deeds, a merger. I said nothing about the structure.
Okay.
It was only that issue. The town does not go and record a merger at the land court. Only the applicant can.
Right. And where is the evidence then in this appeal that that was requested of the property owner, that that type of enforcement action was required? I don't see that. You're inferring that that may have happened. But that is not in your record. There's no evidence at all of any intention in this record. You have the testimony of Mr. Drewley, but that's hearsay. And to Ms. Gallagher's knowledge, she had never heard an objection from Mr. Drewley in 18 years. So you have no evidence of intention in your record. And you have to look at what the bylaw says. And the bylaw says if the town fails to take enforcement action within 10 years to remove a non-complying structure, it's given a status. And that's what happened here. You know, we know how this works. If the building department wants something done, they send you letters, they say submit a plan, submit a covenant, show it to me, or we're not going to leave you alone. It didn't come to fruition, the town's enforcement action, for whatever reason. All right, that's what happened. So that has occurred. And regardless of that, however, there's nothing in the bylaw that says that that has to prejudice this particular property owner. There was nothing done by the Zoning Board of Appeals in 1994 to order removal of that structure. All they said was the Board of Appeals being of the opinion, blah, 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 etc., unanimously votes to deny the application to allow the construction of the structure.
If they had ordered it and perhaps the applicant removed it, it would have been a buildable structure. The point is, and I think...
Buildable lot.
A buildable lot. The point is, I think, as you made it yourself, and that is that an accessory structure, an accessory use, has to have a principal. It has to be on the same lot. And that's what happened here. The board, as you know, the board doesn't have the authority to order something torn down in this town. Only the building commissioner can do that. It was certainly by an inference really clear you cannot have it on a separate lot. So either you take it down or it's part of the same lot. So that's the indice of the merger.
Well, but there's no evidence of that.
Okay.
And certainly now, and Suri can correct me if I'm wrong, if there's a zoning violation out there, the Zoning Board of Appeals, through their staff, works with the building department to make sure that enforcement action is taken. And certainly the zoning board could have said in its opinion, we're hereby requesting the building commissioner to take enforcement action. But yes, that is the job of the building commissioner. And the law says, and our bylaw says, if that isn't done in 10 years, it becomes a non-conforming structure. So regardless of what it was in 1994, what it is today is a protected, non-conforming structure under our bylaw on a lot that has 20,000 square feet of area. You can take that down and build a house by right. You don't need a special permit. So if you have a shed, if you have something else that's been there for more than 10 years, you can take it down and you're entitled to a building permit by right. You do not need a special permit on a lot of 20,000 square feet or more. So to say here that there is evidence of an intention to merge when there isn't one bit of evidence, and you're inferring things that may or may not have happened to deny the buildability of this lot.
Laura, forgive me, if 499 and 500 were already merged, and that was one piece of property, would that shed be accessory to the primary structure?
Yes, because it's one lot.
Okay.
And that's what our bylaw says, on the same lot. So it now meets the definition of an accessory use or an accessory structure. But we don't have one lot here, and we never had one lot. And there's no evidence in the record at all to suggest that there was one lot.
Okay, John?
I'd just like to say...
John, you're going to have to come up, okay? Sri, did you have something else to say?
I have a question on the use, but I'll wait.
John?
I would just like to say again, you have a structure that was built on a vacant lot without a permit. To this day, it doesn't have a permit. I suspect that's why it never got taxed. There's no permit for it. And when they went to this board, for the building permit. It was denied. And they were given the option, merge it. These are intelligent people. They're educated people. Merge it or tear it down. You don't have a building permit. It stays there for 18 more years. Now they want to have a buildable lot there. I think somebody said it quite right. You can't have your cake and eat it too. And I know they know this. They knew it then and they know it now.
Thanks, John.
But to this day, it has no building permit.
Okay. Thank you, John. Suri?
I just have a question. Everybody's been talking about the accessory structure, which, you know, Laura's right, there's a bylaw that protects structures after 10 years, whether it's permitted or not. I mean, we have several decks and sheds and stuff that haven't been permitted, and if there's no violation within 10 years, they're considered whatever. But
It's
the
not
use,
enforceable.
but the use, right. The use is what
I mentioned.
I think people may be forgetting the intent of it and the use of it, because that is not protected.
You have another question?
No, I think I asked what the use was.
Okay.
It's storage for lot 500.
I believe that was the answer. I mean,
That was my understanding, yes.
All right. Anything else from the board? Board have enough information? Want to close the hearing?
so moved.
Second.
All right, Ken and David, all those in favor of closing the hearing, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous vote. All right, what action would the board like to take?
Move to uphold the building commissioner's decision,
So to deny the application.
deny the application.
I'll second Mr. Foreman's motion.
Mr. Foreman and Mr. Zelinski. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Yeah, I just, each case is distinct, but also, we've had other issues where you have these, multiple undersized lots, abolish and reconfigure them. And there was at least one case that I can remember where the same number of lots was maintained, and that went to court and was overturned. You give up stuff if you don't conform to the grandfathering provisions.
Anything else? Then all those in favor of denying the application, say aye.
Aye.
Aye opposed, and Patty's opposed. Okay. The application is denied. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone, for your time and effort on that. We're just going to collect everything back to this file. Did you get the big plan that was last?
Yes, sir.
I think that's
You all
it.
set with everything there?
Okay. All right, our next application is 40-13 for Joan Perlman, 11 Park Road, Woods Hole. I'll ask the clerk to read that into the record. I apologize, I forgot to recognize Andrew Putnam, who's the town's representative to the Cape Cod Commission. Thank you for coming, Andrew.
You all set, Mr. Chairman? Being all persons deemed affected by the Board of Appeals under Section 11 of Chapter 40A of the Massachusetts General Laws, you are hereby notified that Joan Perlman of New York, New York, applied to the Zoning Board of Appeals for a special permit pursuant to Sections 240-3C and 240-23B of the Code of Falmouth to convert a single-family dwelling into two dwelling units on subject property located at 11 Park Road, Woods Hole, Mass.
Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Mr. Cool, welcome to the board. May your decisions be many and just.
Few and just.
Favorable, too, favorable votes. For the record, my name is Kevin Clower. I'm an attorney here in Falmouth with Ahmed Law Firm. And I'm here tonight with Joan Perlman, and Bob Ahmed is floating around. As I mentioned, I represent Joan Perlman, the owner of 11 Park Road in Woods Hole, and the applicant. Ms. Perlman is seeking a special permit for conversion of her property into two dwelling units under Falmouth Zoning Bylaw 240-23B. 11 Park Road. It's located in Woods Hole, adjacent to the Woods Hole ball field, and is a bit of a rarity in that it's a very private home in Woods Hole. It's located at the end of essentially a dead end. There is a driveway just past it that goes rather far back past the swamp, and there's a ball field just to the south of it there. And it is as secluded as one can be in Woods Hole. The assessor's records indicate that the property was built in approximately 1920. Ms. Perlman has owned the property since she and her former husband, Alan Perlman, purchased it in May of 1978. She's been the sole owner of the property since May of 1985. When the Perlmans purchased the property, there were 4 bedrooms in the house. 2 on the main floor of the house, 1 above the garage, and 1 in the attic. Marnie Perlman, now no longer Perlman, but Marnie, the eldest daughter, used the attic bedroom during the first summer they owned the house in 1978. Currently, there are separate suites of rooms in the house, each having a separate entrance. There's the main portion of the house, and there is a second suite that includes the room over the former garage space. There's a bathroom there, and then a living and dining area below in the former garage area. That garage space with the bedroom was built in 1973 pursuant to Falmouth Building Permit 2117, and then the garage was later converted into living space. During the winter of 1978-1979, there was a substantial fire that caused considerable damage to the property. This fire caused the Perlmans to have to undertake significant renovations to the property. Building Permit 3478 was issued in February of 1979 and allowed for repairing dwelling due to fire damage, adding deck 10 feet by 11 feet, and adding dormer 34 feet by 9 feet to present dwelling. This work was done during the spring and summer of 1979 and completed during 1979. The addition of the large dormer included rebuilding the former attic area and and keeping a bedroom up there and expanding the hallway a little bit. I've submitted a number of affidavits from members of the Perlman family and otherwise. Joan Perlman, Alan Perlman, 2 of Joan's daughters, Cynthia and Marnie. The other one's in Australia, so I decided not to bother her about this. Cynthia and Marnie are 2 of the 3. I've included affidavits from William Lockhead, Dr. Alan Steinbach, and Kyle Banks. Mr. Lockhead and Dr. Steinbach are longtime neighbors of the Perlmans who are very familiar with the property. Dr. Steinbach even rented it for a period of time. Mr. Banks was a member of the construction crew that worked on the property in 1979. All these affidavits state that at the time, in 1979, prior to January 1, 1980, there were 4 bedrooms in the house. Falmouth Zoning Bylaw 240-23B allows for conversion of a dwelling in existence as a lot as of January 1, 1980 into up to 4 dwelling units provided 4 criteria. If the property is within a water resource district, a coastal pond overlay, it has to be 15,000 square feet. There should be no home occupation or taking of borders. No additional bedrooms allowed above the number in existence as of January 1, 1980. And the conversion shall not involve any material change in the exterior of the existing dwelling, including architectural features. Conversion may not increase the floor area as it existed on January 1, 1980. I'll address these criteria in order. The existing dwelling is in neither a water resource protection district or a coastal pond overlay. That criteria does not apply. The applicant will not be conducting any home occupations or taking on of any borders. Qualifies under that standard. As of January 1, 1980, there were 4 bedrooms in the dwelling. 2 on the main floor, 1 in the expanded attic area, second floor, and 1 above the garage. The previously mentioned affidavits set forth the fact that all of the parties mentioned have been familiar with the property, can speak to the fact that 4 bedrooms did exist prior to January 1, 1980, and that there are still currently 4 bedrooms in the house. The application qualifies under this standard. There's no material change in the exterior of the existing building, and the gross floor area of the property has not increased since January 1, 1980. That can be shown from submitted evidence. I submitted 3 aerial photographs, 1975, 1986, and 1993, all show the same layout of the house. There was an expansion on the second floor, but that happened during 1979, prior to the January 1, 1980 date. Additionally, the affidavits speak to the fact there has not been an increase in the floor area since that time. I'll note that not only do we have interested parties in the Perlman family, but also uninterested parties, people who have no vested interest in this. And I think the fact that a member of the construction crew was able to speak to this still is lucky. The application qualifies under this standard. The application meets all of the standards set forth under 240-23B. It should therefore be approved by the board. I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have.
We'll ask for a review of the department information and correspondence.
Mr. Chairman, there's no referrals from the boards, and the material in the rest of the referrals is as Mr. Clower stated.
So no correspondence.
No, sir.
Okay.
Attorney Clower.
Yes, sir.
I just have one. The parking. Generally, now, as it's in use, how many cars are there usually?
That's a wonderful question. You have to come up to the podium. On any given day, how many cars would you say are on the property?
How many parking places are there?
How many cars are there?
One or two.
One or two?
And if it's divided, how many do you expect? I mean,
The same.
thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, David?
No questions, thank you.
Patty?
Are there two kitchens in the house now?
There is a stove in the former garage space, yes. And sink.
And there's more than a stove in there, right?
It's a kitchenette, essentially.
Okay. How long has that been like that?
I believe since the mid-1980s.
I don't have any questions.
Okay.
Mark? No questions? Ken, you have no questions?
No questions.
Just one, Kevin. What time is it in Australia? No. No need. Okay, Suri, anything?
No.
All right, anyone in the audience have any particular interest in this application? Okay. Board have enough information to close the
I have
hearing?
one more question.
One more
Are
question.
there two entrances and
Yes.
exits for each unit?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Make a motion.
Suri, wait a second.
Can he explain where the privacy is to the one unit, where the privacy door is? He's got the floor plans there. That was one question that came to mind before.
Over here, there is the entryway to the main portion of the house. Let me hop out of the way. There's an entryway to the main portion of the house off a kind of a raised stairway there. There's also an entryway here.
Right.
And there's also the sliding glass door, which could
Right.
be used. So
Where's the privacy between the
there
two
is
units?
there is a door here,
Okay,
which is generally shut.
okay. At the bottom of this?
Right at the end
first
of the
level.
kitchen, and kind of as you come
Foot of the stairs.
up those stairs,
Okay.
down those stairs, down those stairs.
All right, thank you.
Is there a motion to close the hearing?
So moved.
Second.
David and Scott, all those in favor of closing the hearing, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, unanimous vote. All right, what action would the board like
To
to
make a
take?
motion to approve.
Okay, motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, Ken, the conditions, Scott.
As per plan,
Okay.
not to exceed 2 dwelling units.
Maximum 4 bedrooms on the property.
No changes to the property.
We'll do, as findings, all of the conditions in 240-23B. Suri. Okay. Anything else? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, unanimous vote. Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you very much.
I was just wondering if it was so early in
it's-
Australia, you wouldn't have
it
been able to
is-
use my iPhone, but
Yeah,
that's
right.
all. Or if you
We'll
wanted
use
to,
your phone, not mine.
or if you wanted to withdraw without prejudice or with prejudice. All right. Our next application is going to be 4113 for Lester Epstein at 250 Quaker Road in North Falmouth.
Being all persons deemed affected by the Board of Appeals under Section 11 of Chapter 40A of the Massachusetts General Laws, you are hereby notified that Lester Epstein of West Falmouth, Mass. applied to the Zoning Board of Appeals for a special permit pursuant to Sections 240-160A of the Code of Falmouth to allow seasonal parking for a fee on subject property located at 250 Quaker Road, North Falmouth, Mass.
I'm Lester Epstein at
Good evening, sir.
250 Quaker Road. I purchased a lot there back in the middle 60s and started building in 1977. And in 1997, I was cited by the zoning board for illegal parking. And I went to court, and I would like to pass out one of their decisions to you people. I think I've got enough here.
Is that a citation by the zoning board or the zoning commissioner? Why don't you just give them all to me, okay? We need to stamp them in.
Police department.
All right, please, because the zoning board typically does not.
Going back 15 years, so it's pretty hard to remember.
Scott, may I see what?
Go ahead, Mr. Epstein.
And there's probably a dozen reasons why I need a parking permit, but I'll try to condense it to 4 or 5. Number one, I've got children, and I've got grandchildren and great-grandchildren, and they're in the professions are, my son is a carpenter in Local 40 in Boston. I had a son that was an iron worker in Local 7 in Boston. I have a daughter that's a nurse at Norwood Hospital. I have another daughter that's a teacher at North Smithfield School Department. But it seemed every time we'd have a cookout or a family get-together every summer, there would be a neighbor or two that would complain that we were parking cars illegally, accepting fees. The police would make a call, run the plates. I'd have to sit there and so I stand there and give them an idea whose car this was and their address, and he'd write the numbers down. He'd get in the cruiser, run the plates, they checked out, he'd leave. And then the following week, if there was a holiday and we were having a cookout with Local 40, the son or my sons would have Local 40, the Carpenters Union, Local 7, the iron workers would come. We'd have a big cookout. Someone from the zoning office would come and run the plates. Police would come, run the plates. And every time that they did this, one of the zoning officers would say, why don't you go down and get a permit? And the reason why I was cited the first time was, if you read what I underlined in yellow, that if a car is parked on your property and leaves the premises, it's illegal parking. And that was the basis of what the decision was. And even the judge that sat that day said, I live on Woods Hole Road. I have friends that come, leave their cars, I drive them down to the ferry at Woods Hole, they go to the island. So he said, in other words, I'm illegally parking cars. And the zoning officer, whoever prosecutor, said, yes, that's illegal. And it states right in that brochure or the paper that I gave you, that of his decision and why it's illegal to park cars. If they leave the premises, it's illegal. And that was the basis of I had to pay a fine, which is on the last page, on the 4th page, at the court. And each time this happened, the zoning officer would always say, go down and get a permit, apply for a permit. Then you're covered for 10 cars. So that's why I'm here.
Okay. All right, we'll ask you some questions. We'll go through, try to sift through it.
Sure.
But we're just going to hear from what the other departments have said about this application and review the correspondence. Okay, Mr. Epstein?
Sure.
No, you don't have to read that. That's for the board.
Health Department is recommended to restrict vehicles from passing over septic system components unless they are rated at an H20 vehicle loading. From the Health Building Department has no comment. Engineering has the predetermined, the pre-existing comment that goes with every one of their.
No, that one's very different.
The second paragraph.
Oh, I'm sorry. Site distance exiting the lot is a significant concern. We recommend that that prior to any consideration for the special permit, that the applicant submit an engineered plan showing that adequate site distance exists in both directions, and any clearing if necessary to provide the site distance. Please see the attached photographs taken 5/14/2013 from the driveway existing. Also attached is a figure engineering uses for site distance for references. And there's some pictures. Natural resources, no comment. Planning, no comment. And water, no comment. And there's some correspondence from the Conservation Commission dated January 11th, 2013 to Ms. Bedreau from Mark Kasperek. The property is bordered by freshwater wetland to the west and Quaker Road to the east. See attached town GIS map 2005, 2009, 2011. Impervious parking area appears to have increased each year. Parking cars here increases the likelihood of petroleum products working toward wetland resource areas. Stormwater is also not being contained on the property and is contributing to runoff down Quaker Road, making its way to drains that eventually end up in Herring River. There's some topical maps, aerial maps. A letter from Mr. Epstein. Correspondence from Janet Fallon. Am I supposed to have to read all of them?
No, I just wanted you to read the one from Conservation. And the other is a summary for the two letters.
Okay.
So there were two letters in opposition from the same person, a total of, I can't read it from here. Is it 4 letters in opposition? Okay. All right. So, Ken, do you want to start with questions?
Well, the first question, we have this plot plan.
Yeah.
What is the date of that this plot plan was prepared, do you know?
Probably the early 70s.
Does the drawing showing the driveway, is that accurate?
That's pretty accurate, yeah.
So the driveway is only about 12 feet wide?
Yeah. Maybe 15 maximum. But it's quite a long driveway. It's probably a good 100 feet back from beginning to end.
Okay.
But my main point is that according to the law, I cannot have friends or relatives or
Yeah, no,
cookouts.
I'm not asking you about that.
No, but
I'm trying to
all right.
assess,
Excuse me.
based on your plot plan,
Right.
where you're going to put 10 cars and how it works. These X's are the locations of the cars, is that?
Right.
And so if they're there, how do you have, say, someone who's farthest in wants to get out, how do they get out?
Well, they would be lined up side by side, not one in front of the other.
Yeah, that's not really what's shown.
No, it doesn't really, it's not really accurate, because I did it at the zoning board's office. She said, give me an idea where they're gonna go, and so I wouldn't have to come back. I was going back to Mansfield that day, and I didn't want to take another trip back.
I told him that the board needed a parking plan showing how the vehicles are going to be parked.
Right.
I also discussed with him that the board would probably not be happy with this plan because it's not current, but this is what he wanted to submit because
Well,
he felt
that's-
it was accurate.
That's where I'm going. I mean,
No.
I don't think this
That's what my note in the
reflects
file
what the
is.
pavement actually looks like, but, and, you know, if we were to approve this, we need something that we can say you're abiding by it or you're not abiding by it, so.
Right. Well, can I say something?
Sure.
One of the reasons why I came here was because, or I came to present this, was because I've got a grandson that's 15, and he was riding his bike one day, and there was a kid up the street waving cars in, and he was parking cars. And he came back and told me, and I said, well, I think it's illegal, but, you know, what are you going to do? So later on, I guess he asked him, and the kid told him that he had a parking permit for 7 cars. Now, he's approximately closer to the water, and he's got a smaller driveway, so if he can get 7 cars in there, I could probably get 15 in my driveway. So I said, at the time, I didn't think he had an illegal parking permit, and I think when I came down, I think I asked the zoning board, and they said yes. He had a permit for 7 cars, so I
Yes.
just assumed I could get 10 in the space I had, which is probably 3 times larger than what he had. So, and to be more,
I'm only referring to the adequacy of this representation,
Right.
which, you know, this dates from the 70s. It's, if you know, how accurate is it? That was my question. If you were to have a parking plan, it's difficult for us to approve it if it doesn't reflect accurately what's on the ground and what your intention is, because there's no way then to know whether you're adhering to it or not.
you know,
Patty?
Also, I know that there's a lot of water along the road here. Is there any way that you could prevent the runoff if we required?
To be honest with you, I don't think there's any runoff at all. If the runoff comes down from the sandcastle, which is 10 units above me, and it's all downhill. And when there's a real torrential downpour, it's like a river going right down the street. So that's where your runoff is coming. There's nothing that comes out of my yard as far as I can see. My driveway is pitched, if you're looking at it from the street, my driveway is pitched to the left, which goes into it's nothing but gravel and sand there. So it does, you know, there's no runoff that goes down my driveway.
You also,
Also, across the street is the bluffs. I don't know how many houses are up there, but there's a runoff that comes down from there, too.
The issue is just your lot right now,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
somebody else's.
Right.
also, I think we require a setback from other properties, so you can't park cars right along that lot line, isn't that right?
That's correct. 5
So-
feet.
So that, I think your plan is inadequate here, and I don't think I can approve it, the way it's presented here.
Let's gather some information through questions first. David?
Mr. Epstein,
Yeah.
Mr. Gore stated you've been parking cars there, and this letter's dated July 29th, 1996. You've been parking cars at your property since then?
Probably every holiday, and, I mean, for a fee, you mean?
For
Or
a fee?
just parking?
For a fee?
No. I've been cited for parking cars there illegally because, according to them, if a car is parked on my property and they leave the premises, it's right in the page I gave you, they leave the premises, that's considered illegal parking, and that's the reason why I went to court. was illegal parking, not for accepting a fee.
But you're
No.
before us tonight for parking
Pardon?
for a fee, 10 cars on your property.
Pardon?
You're before us tonight because you
Right.
want to park
Well, I want to
10
park.
cars for a fee, correct?
I want to park cars legally so that I'm not being harassed for parking cars illegally. And if I charge a fee and I have a permit to park, then they can stay there. If I park them there and I don't charge them, I don't have a parking permit, and they go to the beach, it's considered illegal parking.
Okay. Will someone be there all the time when, to
Yes.
monitor these cars being parked?
Either myself or my grandson, I put his name on there because he said that he would definitely be there until this year anyways. He's going in the Marines. He
And-
graduates this year, this week, and he goes into the Marines in the fall. So next year, I don't know what's going to happen, but I've got another grandson that's 15, so he'll probably come.
Is there a time
Thank you.
frame you're going to be doing, some between,
It would probably be around from middle of June until maybe the end of August.
mid-June to August, and what times?
Oh, probably from 10 o'clock in the morning until whatever time they leave. But it's mostly
could be
overflow
midnight?
from the beach. Pardon?
It could be midnight,
No.
10 a.m., so
Well, just if it's family there, yes, it'll probably be
I'm
there
talking
for
the
the
ones for
weekend.
the fee.
Pardon?
The cars you're parking for a fee. I'm not talking if your
Oh, they
son comes down.
probably would leave before sundown because they'd go to the beach. And for no other reason, just for the beach. The overflow from the beach, actually.
So you don't have a time, you just, an arbitrary,
No.
and regards to the plan that, was it engineering that wanted a sight line plan? Have you produced anything like that?
No,
And you've seen that in the
unfortunately, I
file?
was in the hospital for a couple of weeks, and I just let it slide.
Is there a sidewalk on your side of the property?
No,
Is there a crosswalk over there?
no.
Thank you, that's it for now, thank you, Mr.
There's
Chairman.
no sidewalk until, I think it ends at the Bluffs, which is probably 60 feet from my driveway. Doesn't go all the, it doesn't go up Quaker Road. It doesn't go up to the Bluffs, and it doesn't go up Old Shore Road. There's no sidewalks. They start at the Bluffs.
But there isn't any on your side of the road?
No, all the way down, all the way to, geez, I think all the way to,
Bridge.
all the way to the harbor, I guess. There's no sidewalks on either side of the Quaker Road. On Nashawina Street, there's no sidewalks.
Can I ask one more question? And how far away are you from the beach, would you say? roughly?
Probably, if you go through my backyard, probably 80, 80 yards. If you go by street, it's probably maybe a little over 300 feet, not quite 300 feet, depending what beach you're going to. If you're going to the public beach, probably 200 feet. If you're going to the private beach, probably 300 feet.
Thank you.
Thanks, Terry. Scott?
Mr. Epstein, you don't have any issues with safety with people walking on that radius with no sidewalk or?
They walk through there, they walk down that street. Well, that's up to the town for safety.
No, it's up to, you don't
As
feel
far
like?
as I can see, if they cross my driveway and walk maybe 25 feet, there's the sidewalk. But if they were going to the right of the
There's a
driveway-
sidewalk where, 25 feet from your property?
Well, I would say 25 or 30 feet, yeah. Starts right there and it goes to the beach,
On the other side.
on the other side of the street.
And you just mentioned something about them cutting through your backyard.
Well, they used to when I put a fence up because I don't let them use it anymore.
Do you know what the speed limits are on that road?
I think it's 35. I'm not sure. I think it's 35 miles an hour.
Thank you, Thank you.
Can I add something else about sidewalks?
Go right ahead.
To the right of me, like I said, there's a sandcastle. There's 10 units there that they park cars, friends and relatives, I guess. They walk down the street, no sidewalks. Further up, there's Fox Lane. They come down, they walk to the beach from there. There's no sidewalks. All the way up all the way up to Nashawina Street, there's no sidewalks, and people walk down to the beach, no sidewalks.
Mark, go ahead.
Mr. Epstein, I was out at the property on a site visit,
Right.
and about 60 paces towards the beach from the driveway, there's a sign posted and it says blind driveway.
Yes,
Who posted that?
the town. But
Town did.
that was prior to, before they cut the bushes and the trees down.
That was, who cut the bushes and the
The
trees down?
town did. You know, they got that new, I don't know what the hell you call it. Just looks like a giant lawnmower that
Yeah,
just,
like Gravely.
yeah. But
What,
that's what opened it up.
traffic's pretty heavy during the summertime there?
Yeah, quite heavy.
They,
Most of them can't get into
your
the beach, so
opinion-
they just keep going.
Your opinion, they adhere to the 30-mile-an-hour speed limit?
No. They have a cruiser that usually parks across the street there on Old Shore Road that I mean, he could probably pick cars up every 100 a day if he wanted to stay there. Stays there for 10 minutes, and next thing you know, he's gone chasing someone. They come down over the hill from the condos up top, and it's sort of like a racetrack.
Thank you.
Scott?
You're gonna have to help me out with something you said before, and it keeps... Mr. Epstein, who told you you had to get a permit to charge your friends and family in order to park there?
No, no one told me that. One of these, this is 3 or 4 years ago, one of the assistant zoning officers told me, why don't you get a permit and you're covered, because they were writing me up because of illegal parking, not because I was charging, because the people were parking there and going to the beach. And like it says in that citation that I gave you, that even the judge felt he was wrong, he was illegally parking cars because he was doing the same thing I was. People were parking at his house or my house, leaving the premises, going to the beach, and that was considered illegal parking.
But you're before us for a parking permit for pay.
Right.
So...
Well, I'd have to get a parking permit for free then.
So you're gonna charge your friends, or this is
Oh,
going
no,
to be an
not just,
enterprise?
no, not friends, just to have a reason for them,
It's an enterprise.
Okay, I just wanted to...
just a reason to protect myself so that they're not taking my friends and relatives to, writing them up for illegal parking, you know what I'm saying?
But you're also going to...
Well, not necessarily, I probably would charge a friend that came in with
No, I'm
$20
trying
or a relative.
It's not just friends. I mean, people off the street that decide to turn in there and pay you to park that you don't even know.
I would let them if there was room,
Oh,
sure.
Okay,
Mr. Epstein,
thank you.
you mentioned about going to court. There's nothing in here about the court decision. What did the court decide?
Well, on the last page, you'll see a $25 fine.
So the court upheld the
Yeah, right.
enforcement agent, so you were violating the zoning bylaw.
Right. But I thought it's a ridiculous bylaw. If someone
We all
needs your
may not be
property-
happy with the rules, but they are the rules,
No, but
Mr.
I'm
Epstein.
saying- I mean,
Let me
if-
ask the questions,
Yeah.
please. Do you rent this house during the summer?
No.
You mentioned that there will be a grandson or potentially a 15-year-old grandson managing it. Will there always be somebody there to park
Always be
cars?
someone there.
Will there be valet parking, or will
No.
it be self-parking?
Self-parking.
So somebody will just pull into your driveway wherever they might be able to
Well,
find a place to
whoever is
park?
parking them would tell them where to park and collect the fee and...
When I was out at your house, the driveway is, by the way, substantially larger than what it shows here. In
Right.
fact, if you look at the aerial photos, I don't know if you know this, but the town takes aerial photos quite often, particularly in areas of conservation land, and it shows how the driveway has widened dramatically. If I'm facing up your driveway, how far over to the south, to the left,
Right.
does the parking take place off the concrete pad?
Oh, maybe a couple of 3 feet.
Okay. Where is your property line? It wasn't
It's
staked,
about
so I
5
don't know.
feet beyond the driveway.
Only 5 feet beyond the
Maybe,
driveway?
well, I don't know exactly, maybe 5, at least 5 feet, maybe
Nice.
more, maybe 7.
Where are the septic components?
On the front of on the lawn, in the middle of the lawn.
Okay, so that it wouldn't be parked, they wouldn't be parking over the septic components?
No, no.
There was a question there?
No, in fact, it's right in the middle of the lawn.
Okay. Self-parking, how are you going to attract people into your driveway to park?
Don't have to. They see cars in there and they pull in all the time to park.
So you won't have signage, you won't have anyone in the street hawking people to come in? If they see parking that's there, how will you control people waiting on Quaker Road to get into your driveway?
Just wave them in and make them turn around if it's filled up.
So you will waive them, so you will be
Well,
waiving
to
people?
get them off the road, yeah.
Okay. Where are they going to wait off the road? I mean, the parking, and again, in this plan that
Well-
is not accurate, shows the parking all the way down to your property line. So where are they going to wait?
Have you ever been to Old Silver Beach on a holiday or on a hot day? The cars are lined up from Old Silver Beach all the way up to the
I'm asking
Catholic
about your
church.
property, Mr. Epstein.
Yes.
What's your plan
Well,
if
they
you
just
get
keep moving, they
approved?
keep moving. When they can't get in, they just keep going. They probably look for another beach.
So you don't have a plan to control if they are waiting on Quaker Road?
No.
Okay. There was a comment in there about stormwater containment. Now that you do have that concrete pad coming all the way down, do you have any drainage at the end of the street or at the end
There's
of the driveway?
a sluice way that the town put in with a berm, yeah, goes all the way down. But it dumps into the 2 ponds in the back, down at the end of the, between my house and the beach. There's a couple of freshwater.
There was no berm across your driveway, though?
Yes, there is, yeah.
Okay. I
Well, it's
didn't
not
see it.
exactly as high as the other berm, but there is a slight berm so that it'll take the runoff from up top.
Okay. There was another question that I just want to ask again, because I don't think I heard the answer to it. If somebody is in parking all the way to the end, how are they going to get out if they want to get out before others?
Just drive forward and go out.
Boy,
I mean, they would be backed, they would be backed into the wall, and they would just drive off the driveway and take a left and go right out out to the street.
I'm going to put this plan up here that you gave us. Could you try to show us?
Yeah.
Because I just don't figure it out. You're parked all here.
Right.
How is somebody at the very end of the drive,
Well,
up by your house door?
This doesn't really, this isn't the exact driveway. The driveway is,
Okay.
you've been there, right, you said?
Yep.
All right.
All right,
You
so
saw
we-
the driveways.
So we can't go by the plan?
No,
Okay.
not really.
Thank you.
That's way back, I think that plan's way back in the, maybe
It's 1977.
77?
May
I was gonna say early
1977.
70s.
Sorry.
If you do have cars that automatically pull in and there's no place for them to park and no parking available, how do you keep them from backing out onto the main road?
I have a chain link fence that I put across, chain, I would say, that I put across the book. You may
So-
have,
so
you
all-
may have seen it draped around one of the poles there.
All cars leaving your property will never have to back out onto,
No.
whether they park there or not.
No, they'll drive. And basically, the first 10 cars are gonna be friends or relatives. I mean, if there's other, empties, well, the kids who wanna charge them $20, they have that option, but the relatives would have, and friends would have priority on the 10 spaces.
If I could just finish. The 10 parking for a fee, how many cars do you feel you can park in your driveway area?
At one time? Probably 12, 15.
Okay. And you just mentioned that they would never be backing out onto the street.
No.
And yet there's only 5 feet off the concrete pad to the edge of the lot line.
I
So
would
how are
say
they gonna
5 to
turn-
7 feet.
So how will they turn around on your property?
Well,
Well, you said the plan's not worth looking at, so.
yeah. Well, to the left of the driveway, there's probably 45, 50 feet of gravel. So they just access out through there.
Well, I asked you earlier that as I pull into the driveway to the
Right.
left-hand side, which
Right.
is to the south, how far off the concrete pad do you own? You said 5 feet.
5 to 7 feet.
So if you're parking cars beyond that, it's not your property?
No. It belongs to the, it's mutually used between the condos and my place.
It's not your property, though?
I have access to it according to the way it was, the condo was set up.
Okay. I have no more questions. Anyone here that has an interest in?
May I ask one more, I'm sorry?
We have another question, then
I'm sorry.
I'll ask you folks.
Has there been any septic upgrade in this house since this plan?
No.
Thank you.
Did you folks have an interest in this? Do you want to come up and speak? Yes, sir.
You're going to ask for
There's,
direction, opposed.
when, as he's coming up, I think there's one. Come on up, sir. Mr. Epstein, I want to give this man an opportunity. If you just introduce yourself and tell us if you're in favor or opposed to the application and your address.
My name is Arthur Titus. I live at 45 Old Shaw Road, right across the street from Mr. Epstein. I am totally, categorically, 100% opposed to this application. It perplexes me why he's even applying, because for years, I've lived at this property for 34 years. I've seen cars backed up on Quaker Road, waiting to go into his property. I've seen police several times visit his property. I've seen cars backing out of his driveway to leave his property. Now, you have to understand, some of you may know the area. It's a very dangerous situation. There's Quaker Road both ways, the bluffs, and my Old Shore Road. It all come together right in front of his driveway. And there is a blind driveway there. And a car coming down, and they do come fast. If there's a car waiting to pull into his driveway, well, there's a potential for an accident. I hear horns all the time, and it's a residential neighborhood. And I would urge you, ladies and gentlemen, to please maintain the integrity of our residential neighborhood and deny this application. Yes, he does have family. I totally agree with him. But this is not a question of having 3 or 4 cars come onto his property. He has the capacity to put upwards of 30 cars there, and his sole purpose and intention is just greed. So I would appreciate it if you would take all these safety issues that he is creating by having cars come onto his property into consideration. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Ma'am, did you have anything that you wanted to add?
No, but I'm a wreck.
That's all right, we'll help you out.
Never done this in never.
Why don't you just start by telling us your
My
name
name
and
is
address?
Frances Bizio. I live at 11 J Road.
Shay, was that?
J
Okay.
Road. It's off of the
Yep.
block, it's off of Dale Drive.
It is, yep.
And there are times that
Are you opposed to the application?
I'm opposed.
Okay.
There are times that I I work 2 days a week, and there's sometimes I can't even get home because the traffic is 2 lanes, not only the beach crowded, but 2 lanes of traffic parked, waiting to get in the beach. And they go up to his house and they can't get in there, and they make U-turns right in front of
the bluff. You turn in the road, there's gonna be a bad accident there someday, and I hope I'm not involved. Now I have to leave I work at Dean's in North Falmouth. I have to go through West Falmouth to get home. I can't even come down by the beach to get in. Someday there's either that or there's gonna be an accident, they're gonna need an ambulance, you're not gonna get anybody in there. And I'm against it. I just, making those U-turns. There's a guy that lives right at the corner of Dale Drive, Dell, lives right across from him. They drive into his driveway to turn around, back up and go out. I don't know why he isn't here tonight.
He couldn't be here.
Oh,
It's
okay.
all right. Sir,
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry too. I'm,
Don't
like
be
I said, I
sorry.
must be a wreck.
It's all right.
I'm so nervous.
anything else?
No, I just am
Okay.
against it.
All
And
right.
I just want to, I don't know what else to say. I've been living there since 1975.
No need to be a wreck, you did a great job.
Okay.
Ma'am, did you have something? Come on up. Name, address, and opposed or in favor?
My name is Lucille Markarian Muddy. I live at 222 Quaker Road and am opposed to the parking. Just out of safety, there's a lot of traffic just in general. I've been residing at the condo for many, many years, and I think moving forward, I'd love to hear about clarification about the land that the condo shares with Mr.
Right.
Epstein, because that's never been.
That'll be
made
something
clear.
that you can
Separate
deal with
issue, I
civilly. It's not
understand.
something that we will deal with in terms of a permit.
But regarding the traffic, just in general, you have people on the road, yes, there are, the sidewalk starts at a very sort of hinky place down the road, but it's a safety issue. It's a huge safety issue. We wind up having traffic going into the condo. On a good day, I have a hard time parking my car there, and I live there year-round. So I'm opposed due to safety.
Thank you very much. Sir, any comment? All right. Anything else from the board? Want to have a discussion?
Sure.
Go ahead, David.
Doing a site visit there, I had the same concerns that I heard brought up multiple times. Safety, safety, safety. To me, it's a dangerous area. I had to walk out pretty much to the center line to see oncoming traffic with overhanging vegetation. There is a sidewalk there, but you'd have to cut across the road to get over there. And even the applicant, Mr. Epstein, stated that even though it's 35 miles per hour there, cars are flying down there. Just, to me, it's very dangerous. So, and also what Mr. Titus said is a good point. Just you have those converging roads, everybody's coming out, it is like the perfect storm right there. I just can't see that working at all there.
Not yet. Go ahead, Scott.
Without a valid plan, I can't believe we've even gone this far, where we have. I have a little bit of experience with construction, and where this is placed, the septic system, it's clearly stated on this plan not to run heavy equipment over, which means vehicle traffic. This looks to be, and this is an old one, right on the edge of the driveway. So that's my first concern. My second concern is people trying to get across that street and around that corner. I know that we've approved one down the street, but that's more on a straightaway. It goes directly across the street and onto a sidewalk. So pedestrian traffic is a lot safer on that special permit. And I feel like we have to, the neighbors have all been there for 30 years. They have firsthand, they have firsthand testimony on how it's affected not only them, but the traffic flow. And I think we have to take that into consideration.
I agree with everything that's been said. There's no plan, the applicant's own testimony was contradictory regarding how they would operate, hours of operation, all the rest of it that we've considered for other similar types of situations are just not defined, so.
I have the same concerns. I think first step is a better plan, more accurate, up-to-date plan. So I can't approve it.
Mark?
I would echo that, more comprehensive plan, number one, and then we go from there addressing continuing, I think will be continuing safety issues.
Just my reaction is, and the reason I think it's valuable to have gone past the fact that we don't have a plan is that I think even if there was an up-to-date plot plan on this, it still wouldn't pass my muster because the safety issues are just substantial. So even if there were an accurate plan, the sight lines are still no good. There is no crosswalk there. And in addition to that, there's no parking management plan. There's no hours of operation. There's no plan to contain the stormwater containment. And those are important issues because it's an application you're coming to us for, Mr. Epstein. It's not other neighbors or other people. You're asking something from the town to come up with the permit. So I think it is valuable that we've had this discussion. You know, otherwise, I mean, it's up to the board if you want to continue this to get a up-to-date, you know, plot plan and engineering sightlines, but I don't think that's going to change the safety issue. So I think we'd be wasting his time and money, quite frankly.
I do as well.
And I don't think the question was asked, how long, how many years has this been going on, and how many times has he been cited and continues to?
Well, we know at least from 1996,
Well,
which would have been
that would have given someone
17
long
years.
enough to, if you were that serious about getting this done, to frankly come to the board with be more prepared.
And we can always give Mr. Epstein another option, but you, sir, you wanted to add something? You're going to have to come up to the lectern, okay?
When my driveway's filled up with relatives and friends, I put a chain across. Those cars that still come down, they can vouch for it. They still make U-E's there in front of, they don't have to, it isn't anything that's happening at my place that makes them make that U-turn. It's just that the beach is so crowded that they make U-E's right there.
That's right.
So, I mean, that's got nothing. And secondly, what happens when they come in and check the registrations and saying that they have to stay on the property if they park there, they can't leave because it's considered illegal parking?
That's true.
That's true.
I mean, you either have to change the law or I'm going to be cited,
That's right.
right?
That's exactly right. We don't change the law, though.
So I'm going to be cited if they want to.
It sounds that way. But to give you permission is not something that we do just so you don't get cited. I mean, there are things people do that violate the law. Now, the law doesn't get changed for them because they want to violate the law.
Well, everyone in the neighborhood should be cited then.
Maybe
They
that'll
go to the
happen.
condos and they park and walk down.
They're not before us, so we're all going to deal with your application. All right?
Yeah.
Okay. Board have enough information?
Yes.
There is one other option. We do offer this to everyone, Mr. Epstein, if you want to just try to bear with me. If you wanted to withdraw this application, now you've heard everything that we've said.
Right.
You've heard the concerns about the safety, you've heard everything. If you wanted to withdraw this application and then come back with a proper plot plan, with engineering plans regarding sightline, a plan to address the issues of safety, the septic covers, the water containment on your driveway. If you want to do all of those things, you could come back, pay another $100, and come before this board.
I'll withdraw because it's not going to fly. I can tell right now it's not going to fly.
All right. So you'd like to withdraw without prejudice?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there a motion to
Make
accept?
that motion.
All right.
Second.
And there is a second. That's Mr. Zelinski and Mr. Foreman. All those in favor of withdrawing without prejudice, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, unanimous vote.
Did you get that photo back?
Thank you, Mr. Epstein.
Can I ask another question?
You may.
How do I go about changing the law that says that if a person parks on the property and leaves, it's illegal parking?
You have to petition town meeting for a change in the zoning bylaw, and it requires a two-thirds vote of the members at town meeting. Yep. You may want, if you want to get a little bit more information on that, you could either check with the town clerk or the town moderator. Both those names and contact information are on the website. Or if you need any information, you can always contact Sari. I know she was helpful to you before.
All
Okay?
right. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Epstein. All right, we're going to take just a 3-minute break, and we will be back in a moment.
Being all persons deemed affected by the Board of Appeals under Section 11 of Chapter 40A of the Massachusetts General Laws, you are hereby notified that David Schnell, trustee of Melno Park, California, apply to the Zoning Board of Appeals for a special permit pursuant to Sections 240-3C of the Code of Falmouth to raise and reconstruct a pre-existing non-conforming single-family dwelling subject property located at 232 Alder Lane, North Falmouth, Mass.
Good evening, Mr. Ahmed.
Members of the board, I'm Bob Ament. I'm a Falmouth attorney. I represent the applicant, David Schnell, the trustee of the 232 Alder Lane Trust. The applicant purchased the subject property.
Could I ask you to speak up, please? Sure.
And ask me again if you need to.
That really doesn't amplify to the room. It's just for the FCTV.
I'll just speak up. Thank you. Dr. Schnell bought this property in Wild Harbor Estates last year, and the house that he bought was built in 1973. He anticipated making renovations to it, maybe making additions to it, and as he got into the project with his architect, determined that the house has so many defects that he would like to build a new house, to reconstruct the house. That would not require a special permit, except that the house is non-conforming. It is a pre-existing, legal, non-conforming house, non-conforming only with respect to the fact that a portion of the house is located within 50 feet of the 4-foot contour of the Wild Harbor River. The portion of the house that is non-conforming, that is within that 50-foot setback, is almost entirely the uncovered deck on the river side of the house. There is an extremely small portion of the house, perhaps 10, I doubt 20 square feet of the house itself, that is within the 50-foot contour. As I said, the house was built in 1973. There was no requirement that the house be set back 50 feet from the street, from the river, from the 4-foot contour at that time. That bylaw was first adopted in the 1980s. We know that the deck as built originally, and the house as built in 1973 included that deck, not only because of the fact that there'd be no way to get out of the back of the house to the ground, but we have, and I'll give you a copy of a plan prepared in 1976 by Lawrence Lynch in connection with the licensing of the riprap, which is along the river at the house, and it shows the deck. So we have a pre-existing non-conforming structure, and our zoning bylaw allows it to be reconstructed, provided that the reconstructed house is not substantially more detrimental than the existing nonconformance. And as I will show you, it is not only not more detrimental, but an improvement in a variety of ways. Now, I have had the surveyor, BSS Design, prepare a plan that shows the 50-foot contour line. Plans that were previously filed showed the setback from the 4-foot contour line. It shows the 4-foot contour, which is this blue line, but it didn't show the 50-foot line, which is this red line. And you'll see that the present corner of the deck closest to the 4-foot contour is 36.1 feet, and that is the exact same as the proposed setback from the 4-foot contour. And you'll also see that the portion, as I've said, the portion of the actual building that's within the 50 feet, and all of it pre-existing non-conforming, 40 years old, is negligible. On the plans that I've mounted on the board here, I've shown first in yellow, this is the portion of the structure that is actually within the 50-foot contour, and hopefully you can see it from there. It's almost all deck with just this sliver, just a sliver of the house. And this is the proposed house, and in orange is the portion of the proposed house that's within 50 feet of the 4-foot contour. This area is actually becoming a lawn. The deck is a little bit longer over here. It's a little shorter right there. The area in square feet of structure, again, almost all open deck, the amount of the house itself the same, is actually being reduced. This proposed is 46 square feet smaller than the existing area that's within 50 feet of the 4-foot contour. So the proposed structure will be no closer to the 4-foot contour at any point, and the portion of the house that will be within 50 feet of the 4-foot contour will be reduced. So in terms of the nonconformity of the house, it will not be substantially more detrimental in terms of compliance with the statute. It's with the bylaw, arguably, it's less nonconforming. Now, the project overall is going to result in a significantly better house. I'm going to give you also, along with that plan I mentioned a moment ago, a memo from Hutker Architects, which just discusses, lists really, a number of the defects of the existing house. The current structure have points of water leakage, the foundation is inadequate, of course the house doesn't meet today's standards for the wind-resistant windows, and with the 40-year-old house on the water, there are many problems with the house, and we'll have a new house that will, of course, meet, and in many ways will exceed building code, today's building code requirements. In addition, there will be a new septic tank, an upgrade to the septic tank, although the leaching field is not changing. There will be new drainage installed at the street, where the driveway meets it in 2 locations. And those drainage structures will pipe water that presently runs into the street to a dry well that's shown on the plan on the north side of the property. That will be an improvement to safety, an improvement to the neighborhood. In addition, 2 areas totaling more than 1,100 square feet of invasive plantings where native plantings are being overrun. They're going to be restored with native plantings. And besides that, in order to comply with Conservation Commission requirements, there's an area of 340 square feet right at the top of the riprap that is going to be ornamental plantings that are non-native are going to be removed, and native plantings are going to be installed. The Conservation Commission has held 2 hearings about this house. Their second hearing was yesterday. They have closed the hearing, though they have not made a decision. I will tell you with complete confidence that the project, as you see it, will be approved by the Conservation Commission according to their standards, which in some sense is what this 50-foot setback under the zoning bylaw is all about. It's to protect the river. And there's nothing about this project whatsoever that will have an adverse impact on the river. In fact, the improvements that I've mentioned, including perhaps most significantly, better control of water runoff. I should mention that there are gutters on the house and downspouts, but they don't lead to dry wells, which will be installed with the new house, so that's an improvement. Anyway, in terms of environmental benefit, this house will be better. In terms of the utility of the house, its value, it will be significantly better. And from what you're looking at in terms of compliance with the zoning bylaw, it is certainly not substantially more detrimental, and quite the contrary. It is both a reduction in the nonconformance and overall a project which is an improvement. Let me make sure to give you the things that I've mentioned and a copy of this plan that shows the 50-foot from the 4-foot contour. There are no other changes to the plan. Thank you.
Thank you.
I should say that this lovely looking colored drawing is the landscape plan in addition to what I've described to you. There are many other, mostly native plants that are going to go onto the lot. This is prepared by Horiuchi Celine. I'd also point out that there are no other nonconformances with respect to this property meeting setback requirements of the bylaw, other than the 50-foot from the 4-foot contour.
All right, thanks. I'm going to ask the clerk to review the referrals and correspondence.
Concom, currently being reviewed by Concom under a notice of intent. Some correspondence between Ms. Bedreau and Ms. Rainey. Health. 5-bedroom septic supports 11 habitable rooms under Title V. This formula is applied when the total number of habitable rooms exceeds 8. Natural resources, no comment. Planning, no comment. And then there's some general correspondence between Stalmett's office and ours.
Sounds good. Patty, you want to start us off?
I have no questions.
No questions. Ken?
So the bedroom count of the new house versus the old house?
The existing house is a 5-bedroom house. We've filed existing conditions plans, so you have floor plans of the existing house. It is a 5-bedroom house. And the proposed house will be count as a 5-bedroom house. I don't think there are any more than 5 rooms shown as bedrooms. You know, there's a workroom in the basement, which we've counted, and so on. So we meet the requirement and for the septic system that is installed as it will be upgraded.
But it'll still be a standard Title V, no denitrification.
That's correct.
That's all for me.
Scott?
I have none.
David?
Bob, you're going from a 1.5 to 2-story structure?
Yes, the height actually will go from 24.8 feet to 26.5 feet. It's a relatively, it's not a high-pitched roof. As you know, the height limitation is 35 feet, so we're way below that. There will be more second floor than there is now. The current second floor is a little bit less than 50%, so it qualifies as a 1.5-story house. The proposed second floor will exceed that, so it counts as a two-story house. And of course, you could have a 2.5-story house, but we're not we're two-story house, 26.5 feet high.
And I didn't catch you when you were talking about the usage of the basement. What did you say that was, a workshop?
There's a recreation, I think it's 2 rooms, you have the plans. One is a workshop area, which would be workshop storage. The other is just a large open space.
Just storage.
Well,
Okay.
it may be a play area, to put a pool table down there, whatever.
All right, thank you.
Mark?
2 quick questions. On the plan, proposed wall that goes next to the deck, is it going to be flush with the edge of the deck?
I believe that the deck, where there's deck,
Yeah.
will be on top of the wall. It will support
The actual
support it.
deck?
Yeah.
And so my second question would be, is there going to be a significant change to the elevation of the
No, I don't think there's any change to the elevation. The first floor elevation would show on the plans. I don't think there's any change. If it is, it's
minimal?
immaterial. It's
That's all for me.
Bob, you said the only non-conformity was the 50-foot setback. And I just want to make sure we have it correct for the record. I thought there was a non-conformity on the southeast corner, that the setback from the side yard was 9.5 feet.
I don't think so. You may be looking at a air conditioning pad or something of the light.
No, you can take a look at this if you want. I mean,
It's the bump out behind it.
It's becoming too
11.5, 11.2.
You've pointed to a bulkhead, which perhaps is half a foot closer. That's, however, being eliminated and
couldn't
moved.
tell that it was a bulkhead from the...
Yeah, it's a bulkhead, and it's actually being relocated farther away from the
So that's a
side. So
reduction
it
in-
actually, if, to the extent that that's a nonconformance, we're eliminating that.
Yeah. Just an FYI, I didn't notice any lot line staking at all, so it was kind of difficult. I mean, the plans are well done. I didn't note any lot line staking on any side. There was staking from, obviously, the contour, but, so that made it a little bit awkward in terms of looking at neighbors, et cetera. I don't have any other questions at this point. Suri, anything?
No, thank you.
Okay. Sir, did you have anything?
I didn't.
All right, if you'd come on up and introduce yourself, address, and if you have just questions, or if you're opposed, or in favor, okay?
Thank you. I have a few questions,
All
but
right, do you want to give us your name and address?
my name is William Murphy, 236 Alder Lane.
Thank you, sir.
I'm an immediate butter to the northwest side, I guess.
Okay.
And a couple of things the board members have brought up have crossed my view as well. I picked up some plans last week for the generosity of a young lady who takes care of your office.
She is good, isn't she?
She's very good, and she's very accommodating. And I had a proposed and an existing plan. And I guess my reason for going down to take a look at them was that the president of Wild Harbor Association called me. I live off Cape, and asked me whether I was aware of what was going on. And I said, I know they were putting on an addition, or they were going to do some changes. I said, I don't know how significant it is, but I heard they were keeping the foundation, and they were basically just rebuilding it. Well, a certain amount of delight associated with it, because the home was a very contemporary home, slightly out of place with the rest of Wild Harbor. And but I didn't dwell on the association president did not mention that to me. He just stated, "Are you aware?" So that was caused me to go down and see his secretary, and I did. And I went back then to the lot. I did get a picture of the gable end of the house, and which is the side that faces me. And I showed it to my wife, and she was almost in tears. And she said, "There's such a great opportunity here to build something very attractive," and I understand that that is not the purview of the Zoning Board of Appeals, but it made it very upset. I said, "Well, let's just go take a look. There are a number of stakes over there." And I had met the engineer out of the site a couple of weeks ago, and he didn't have any plans with him. But I said, "Well, where are the lot lines?" I said, "I see you got a limit of work, one stake that has a limit of work on that side." And I said, "Gee, that appears to be very close to what I would perceive to be my lot line. And does that mean everything here is going to be torn down?" He says, "Well, that's that big oak that's there, that's going." I said, "All right, and what's going in its place?" And he said, "Well, the garage is being moved out in that direction." All right. And then there are a few other stakes that were indicated, but they really didn't say what was going on. And I met with the abutter on the opposite side, and the opposite abutter had the same issue. I said, "What is so secret that they can't put stakes in? If you're out there putting sticks in the ground, and you're an engineering firm, why wouldn't you inform whoever you care to inform, be it conservation or Zoning Board of Appeals, or your abutters, where that line is and how you're going to influence the abutting property?" And so I tried to interpret as best I could the existing and the proposed. And the president of the association came by on Sunday, and he said, "This is different. These are different plans that were shown to me." And he took out his plans, and sure the heck, even the architectural plans are different. And by the way, the person who just got up here, representing the abutter, and believe me, I have nothing, I yearn to have something very pleasant and attractive next to me. I come down to my home not to be here. I come down to enjoy it. It's a beautiful town. Everything about this place is great. And I don't need to argue with my abutter, but I need some answers. And he was totally disingenuous by saying, "Oh yeah, the side of the house is just the same. You take a look at that gable end of that house, and it's 2.5 stories. I look out my bedroom at it, and before it was a gabled end. Now I got 2 roofs or 3 roofs coming together, and I got a gutter in the middle of it, if it is a gutter, because it really doesn't show enough with detail. And you know what's going to happen in a severe event? My guests, I have a guest bedroom in that corner of the house, are just going to hear the water flowing off that, right over that gutter in the middle of the night. And if they're not hearing that, they're hearing the double air conditioners that apparently are in that location and absolutely affect the quiet enjoyment of our home. That can be taken care of, but I have nobody to talk to regarding this. Mr. Snell, I guess, is in California, and I don't know who his representative is here, but the point is, that's just one of the points. I just want to counter what this gentleman said here just a few minutes ago. That's particularly regarding the stakes and what actually is going up on the property and how it's going to influence it. Also, I don't know the zoning bylaws. I know what the request was, by a notice that I had received. And the notice that I received said to raise and reconstruct a pre-existing non-conforming use. But there is also an expansion of that non-conforming use, as the plans that I have, and within the 50 feet. Now, there's a new plan here apparently today, and I don't know if that is now moved back, but there is an expansion on the opposite side of my house, and there's also a change in the footprint on my side of the house. And do I really care? I would just like to know what is going on and have a consistent set of plans that are shown to the association, Wild Harbor Association, and to the town, and to the Board of Appeals. I think that's reasonable to seek, not have three separate sets of documentation that we don't know whether we're on foot or horseback. And I have all good faith that perhaps it can be ironed out. The raise and reconstruct versus the raise, reconstruct, and add to a non-conforming use hasn't been addressed in the notice that was sent to me. It was only by examining a plan very, very closely with the member of, with the president of the association, that I come up with that conclusion. Now there is a rule and regulation within the subdivision, that Wild Harbor Association, that must be 15 feet from a lot line. The existing house is not 15 feet, and there has been some effort to move some of that back, but it isn't uniform. Again, if I think that it should be addressed in front of the board and the abutters. And if we got to look at a monstrosity for the next 50 years, then we should know that today. And each of you would feel the same way for going next to your home. And we're really not sure what we're looking at or we're going to see. And I think it's a simple matter, but there is something being, it feels as if there's something being concealed, but I really don't know what it is. Why aren't those stakes put in? I said something to the engineer when he was here. I said, what is part of our job? That's what was said to me. Oh, I said, that's strange. And then I started going out with tape measures and measuring my own lot far over. Gee, that little bit of work looks like it's pretty close to my lot, if not on it. Does that mean they're going to strip everything, all the vegetation out on that side? If nothing else, the board should have that information. I should have that information. And my other abutters should have that information. And that's all I seek. And I would like very much to be able to meet with whomever is in charge of this operation to see if that could be ironed out and represent ourselves in front of the board at some other point. And I respectfully suggest that perhaps it would be in the best interest of the board to, and the abutter and Mr. Snell, to continue the hearing until there is a meeting of the minds, as we know what's physically on the ground. The same thing that you just mentioned a few minutes ago. It isn't the same home. It is substantially larger, especially the second level. The side that faces me is particularly of concern because of the design and the potential for runoff coming in and disturbing my guests. And nobody here would like that adjacent. It's 20 some odd feet from your house. In the middle of the night, you get a pouring rain, and you're going to hear water pouring out on a concrete walkway that is, I guess it's shown on the plan. You know what that's going to sound like, and it's not going to be pleasant. It's going to disrupt the sleep of whomever might be in that room. And I think that all of this can be ironed out, at least I hope it can, but I think we need to have an audience to do it. And we don't have it, and I think the plans and the variety of plans that are presented to all of the boards are different, and they should be the same.
Mr. Murphy? Can I just ask you a couple of, the board, I'm sure will have some questions. I just want to clarify a couple of things. You come up saying you had questions. You didn't say you were opposed. Are you opposed, or were there questions you wanted
Well,
to
I'm
answer?
opposed as it is.
As it
I'd
is.
like to,
Hey, can I-
I'd like not to, I'd like to feel as if the opposition, or the items, or the elements can be resolved.
Right, no, I understand that. And I just wanted to try to make sure I have all the questions down so that perhaps you can get the answers to them. One was the issue of the gutter, okay? One was the issue of the air conditioning, which I know I'll have a follow-up question to ask you. A question about whether or not the structure was actually getting larger and perhaps more non-conforming, the staking. And I don't know if it was a question or that was something you were just trying to tell us, that your own subdivision has some association rules requiring a 15-foot setback. Is that a question for us or something you're telling us?
No, it is not. It is something the association has and has had for a number of years. It may be a legal matter. I believe the town's, the town bylaw, building code bylaw is a 10-foot setback.
Right. Was there any other question that I missed?
No, but I did make note of that, the substantial change in the elevation on the side that faces me.
Okay, but that's not a question, that's just a comment for us. And then just one comment for you. This is where we get people to look at plans and hear things. I mean, everything that's happened so far has followed what we expect, with the exception of the staking, and that is that you get notice, you have the opportunity to come in and review the files with our administrator, you get the opportunity to come here to see any presentation, ask questions. There's not anything more we can do. I mean, if what you're saying is an audience with Mr. Snell and his representatives, that's something we don't require or can't impose. We obviously hope that happens, but everything so far seems to have followed our procedures.
I would like to ask the board whether an expansion of a non-conforming use should have been in that advertisement.
Well, it's not an expansion of a non-conforming use. It's a structure that we're talking about. The use is a single-family residence.
I apologize.
That's all right, not a problem.
Mischoice.
It's properly noticed as raise and reconstruct, which means tearing down and putting something back up. Now, the standard, and we don't put that in the notices, that it cannot be substantially non-conforming, okay? This board has its own procedures that it goes through in terms of what it considers to be more detrimental, et cetera.
Yes,
and you'll hear that as we discuss it tonight. But I think the notice was fine because it did what it's designed to do. It got you here.
Well, it did indeed.
All right.
And
So
thank
the
you
board may have some questions for you. I know that Mr. Zelinski does, and I know I have a couple of follow-up questions as well. So why don't we let Scott ask you a couple of questions.
In fact, you asked a couple of them. I guess my final question would have been, when was the last time, or when and if, did you come down and meet with our zoning administrator to review the information that we review?
This past Thursday or Friday.
A week ago today?
Yes.
What day is today?
Thursday.
Yes, Thursday, a week ago.
Okay, that's all.
So there was one thing submitted tonight that I know I will want to follow up and find out what the change was. But so basically, you've got everything that we've got, with the exception of something that was handed to us tonight, okay?
Well, I don't know whether indeed I do, because I have not seen this plan.
The landscaping plan is not a requirement of the board for a residential home.
And I noticed the markings in yellow and the markings in orange. I did not see that.
Yep.
And I may get an opportunity to see that tonight, but,
All right, let's ask some more questions. David, you had a question? Sari first, I'm sorry.
Excuse me. I just want to clarify the issue on the notice. If there is an increase in a nonconformity, then it is noticed. Like if it was lot coverage, it would be 240-69E. If it was a setback, the setback would be stated. But according to our bylaws and what's allowed in 240-3, there was no need for any further notice. I do not determine, as does the application does not determine, what an extension of use or structure is. The board does, and whether it's more non-conforming. So otherwise, it would be noticed, and I'm very careful that I try to get all those noticed.
David?
Just a statement and question on the air conditioning unit. I know on the existing and it seems like the proposed, the air conditioner unit will be on the Schnell's southeast corner, but isn't yours within, I don't know, 25 feet on your southwest corner, your air conditioner?
No, my air conditioner is on the back side of the house.
But I believe you're gonna, because that was one of the things I looked at.
Where my air conditioning was?
Yes.
It's buried, there's 3 units. One unit is buried in the shrubs in the front of the house, and 2 units in the back, with adjacent to the garage or whatever.
What's the back, the water side, or?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, I could,
I must have seen the wrong house, because I saw 2 units.
yeah, I think it's the same house.
I think so too, but.
And just,
We only have them, so I only have a couple.
yeah, you're the dark brown house.
Huh?
You're the dark brown house?
No, the other side.
The other side, the
Oh,
northern. You're on the northerly side of this
Right.
property.
Where
you're on the other
near
side.
where the air conditioning units are proposed. They were at the southeast corner. Now they're on the northeast corner.
Oh, okay, I got you. And, I guess for, Mr. Ahmed,
But we'll get to Mr.
okay.
Ahmed in a moment, okay?
I'm all set then, thank you.
All right. Patty, any questions for Mr. Murphy?
No.
Ken? Mark? Okay. Thank you. We're going to try to get some answers now, see where we go. I'm sure we'll be chatting with you in a moment. You had a question, Mr. Ahmed? I do too.
I think, Bob already stated, but just for clarification, that all the roof will have gutters and the downspouts will get tied into dry wells, is that correct?
That is correct.
Thank you. No more questions, thank you.
Well, the plan that you gave us, I wasn't able to distinguish what changed.
The only thing new on this plan is that this red line was drawn. That's the only change on this plan. And that was simply presented to make it clearer to you where the 50-foot contour would be. And I felt just like these demonstration plans, that would be helpful. Now, last week, we filed revised plans, which made the house smaller than the plans previously proposed. And in particular, whereas the setback from Mr. Murphy's house lot is presently 11 and a half feet, we have changed that side of the house so that it will be 15 feet away at all points. We did that to satisfy, in part, the association 15-foot requirement. Now, we have already received from the president of the association permission to have the new house be in the same location and just as close as the existing house. So that's 11 and a half feet, I believe, on one side, 11.2 feet on the other. We have the association's permission to that. And the only place in which we're not proposing to have any of the house within 15 feet of the line, and I realize that that's a private association matter, is just this extension right there, which is 11 and a half feet. If the association feels that despite the fact that they've agreed that the house can be 11.2 feet from the line over here, as it exists today, that there's a reason we can't be 11.5 feet over here, the solution would be to just cut off a corner. Not a good, it's not what we want to do. It doesn't make sense. but we're actually removing the violation, if you will, of the association rules, which remember dates from 1973, and under Massachusetts law, having been there for 6 years, a private action can't be taken to do anything about it. I also, in preparation for this matter and discussing what is reasonable with the association, came and looked, as Ms. Boudreau knows, looked at the files in the Board of Appeals just on a hunch that Wild Harbor Estates, being a pretty big subdivision, over the years has probably had a bunch of cases involving nonconformances. And I found right off the bat, 5 cases involving nonconforming setbacks where the Board of Appeals, well, one actually was this house over here, a huge house, that huge brown house. That house, as shown on plans filed in the Board of Appeals, is 10 feet from the line. Okay? In 4 other cases, we found special permits granted to allow houses to be within 10 feet of the sideline.
But again, as you said, the private matter is not before us.
You're right.
Our bylaw says 10 feet. That's what we'll deal
Right.
with.
Well, I'd like to point out, with regard to the size of the house and so on, that the proposed house, it was to be 20% lot coverage, which, as you know, is allowed by right, with 25% allowed by special permit. The change in the plan reduced that to 19.6%. So in terms of the suitability of the property and for the building of the size, we are under the by right permit. And that, of course, includes all the decks as well, 19.6%. We're also overall significantly, we're around 30% lot coverage, all impervious surfaces, including the driveway. And that's, the permitted by right is 40%. So this house is not excessive. It is much smaller than the house to the south. I believe it is still smaller than the house to the north, that is Mr. Murphy's house. It is smaller than a number of houses which have been built in Wild Harbor Estates in recent years. It's only 26.5 feet tall. I did not feel it was necessary for the architects to come to the meeting tonight, but I suspect that they feel very strongly that this is a attractive house. Dr. Snell certainly thinks so. I've thought so when I've looked at the plans. So beauty is in the eye of the beholder. This house is not out of scale by your zoning bylaws or in the neighborhood. And, we've submitted well over a month ago plans to the association. We've been having discussions with them about their changes, and particularly with one of the trustees. I've had much correspondence, and the conclusion was made that we would get the plans approved by the boards and then go back to the association for whatever approvals would be required. And that has nothing to do with the proceedings before you.
Well, can I ask you another question?
Yeah.
Is this in a flood zone?
No, well, the house is, well, the plans show exactly where it is, so I'll tell you.
Mr. Chairman, can I just make a motion we go to 9:45?
Thank you.
Second.
Mr. Haddad, Mr. Zelinski, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, unanimous vote. Thank you.
This is the FEMA velocity flood zone line. It's coming right here. It just is outside the deck. And this is, so everything.
So there's no restrictions on the use of the basement?
That's correct.
Thank you.
This is a C zone.
Yep, thank you. Okay, any other questions?
Mr. Chairman?
Mr. Poole?
Just a general question. Did Conservation give you an idea as to when they were going to have a
Decision?
Yeah, the Conservation Commission is required to issue a decision within 21 days of the date they close the hearing. Sometimes when they are going to approve a project, they figure nobody's going to appeal and they don't get it done in the 21 days. This, I'm sure, will be done in 21 days, and this project at this point is going to be approved by the Conservation Commission, but that's my informed opinion. I would just comment about the air conditioners. Yes, it's true that the air conditioners are on the side of the garage. They're over 15 feet away from the Mr. Murphy's property line. I believe that the modern air conditioning units are relatively quiet, and there's a lot of landscaping that's going to be going in all along this area that should make a difference.
Mr. Murphy, did you get all your questions answered? You're going to have to come up if you want to.
I clearly learned maybe a little bit.
Come on up here if you, okay, thanks.
I clearly learned more than I knew 15 minutes ago. But I spoke with the president of the association on Sunday, and he said, really, we don't have an issue with how close the property lines, the existing property is, or even any new property that is within that footprint is to the line. But any additions to it, we wanted to meet the 15 feet, and that was his response. And I'm sure that he's conveyed that message as well. So, and the only part that influences is the back portion of mine, which is de minimis. Excuse me, the back portion of the side that faces me, which is de minimis, and the opposite side, which is the addition. And that's what his comment was to me at the conclusion of our meeting the other day. He did not indicate that you had expectations of it being approved up here, and then go back in front of the association.
Okay.
Okay, and the issues that I brought up mirror what, again, the board, some of the issues which the board in turn had on their own. You walk in and you don't know where you don't know what is the extent of the work to be done on that side. But it was Mr. Snell's representative that said that side of the building was going to be substantially the same. It really isn't. It's 2+ stories high versus a garage. Basically, it's a garage on that side of the house, and now it's going to be a garage with a 1.5 stories above it. And, so that is a substantial change. But that again is.
I'm sorry, I was trying to listen to Mr. Murphy. Go ahead.
So that is a substantial change from what exists there now. And
Okay, thank you. Scott, did you have anything?
Yeah, if you may, if I may. You were aware that the president of the association was corresponding with Mr. Ahmed's office?
I do understand that, yes, I do understand that they have met. And I just referred to you, what the president of the association said to me. They don't have an issue with the setbacks as they exist, except for an addition, and which was not what Mr. Snell's representative just said.
Okay. I think we've exhausted that part.
perfect.
Anything else? It really isn't. We have the zoning bylaw to deal with. You may have an issue within your own association to deal with at another point, but quite frankly, we look at setbacks that are 10 feet from the side yard setbacks. So that's all that we have the power of dealing with, okay?
Yep.
And as long as it's not substantially more detrimental is the standard we work with. Suri, you had
And the elevation is within the zoning bylaws. The height of the house is
and it's not
below the
2.5
maximum.
stories.
It's not 2.5
It hasn't
stories.
been testified to be 2.5 stories. Do you have anything to add? No. Okay, good. Thank you.
I just wanted to make that clear.
Thank you. All right, board have enough information?
Yes.
Does it want to discuss or does it want to close?
Make a motion to close.
All right, we have a motion to close by Mr. Zelinski, seconded by Mr. Foreman. All those in favor of closing the hearing, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, unanimous vote. All right, action that the board would like to take.
Move to approve.
Okay, we have a motion to approve.
I'll
Is there a
second
second?
Mr. Foreman's motion.
Okay, Mr. Foreman, Mr. Zelinski, the conditions
As per plan, of course.
per plans.
Not to exceed,
Not to exceed what?
is it 5 bedrooms?
No, this is one of those that you can have,
Up to 8? Is that,
I would just ask
Stay
the board
away.
to stay away from that.
stay away from the
Yes.
bedrooms.
The Board of
because
Health
of the Board of
conditions
Health.
that, your concern would be, looking at the elevations about bedrooms in
Yeah.
the basement to make sure there's
You're right.
egress before you condition anything.
But I think we should incorporate the conditions of the Conservation Commission
Yes.
in this one. And I think there were some other important ones that you might want to consider putting in, that all gutters would go to dry wells, because that was an issue that was
that is per
concerned.
plan, right?
Yeah,
Well,
but
it's hard to tell that from the plan.
Yes,
I'd like to
sure
just
is.
make that a condition,
Right.
because it's an issue that has come up by
Okay.
one of the
Got it.
abutters. I'm not sure there are other
No.
conditions. Did I miss any condition?
I don't believe so.
No. And as far as the findings, I think, well, why don't you start with some findings, guys?
Well, the
Then I'll wrap it up.
the new plans are going to be more in keeping with the neighborhood than the existing house, the architecture of it.
Well, not so much,
No.
but the structure
The
itself
design-
is
the
improved.
design-
Is an
right.
improvement in terms of building codes, et cetera. Not so much design, because that's not our bailiwick.
Well,
So there's
there's
actually-
testimony that's more,
There's actually a
More keeping.
reduction in the nonconformity,
Reduction
right?
in nonconformity.
In terms of the encroachment on the 50-foot setback. That's the main issue before us.
Right.
Yeah.
And I
It is
think
the issue.
we've strayed far from it, but that's what we have to keep in mind.
Yep.
I'm sorry, what issue was that? I didn't hear you.
The reduction in
There's
nonconformity.
been
yeah.
a reduction
I
in
got that already.
nonconformity with respect to the encroachment on the 50-foot setback.
I think
Right.
there's also an
Really
improvement to the
From the
side
4-foot
line setback
contour.
with
That's
the
pretty
change
simple.
of the
Yep.
bulkhead.
Yeah.
And it is not substantially more non-conforming, and I think our typical 216 standards. Okay,
Got
any
it.
further discussion?
I mean, in all other ways, it conforms, right?
Yes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, unanimous vote. Thank you, Mr. Murphy, for coming out and
Yes.
participating in this. It's very helpful to us.
I believe, are the minutes down there already?
Do you want to do the minutes? Or do you want me to?
His own house.
All right, that ends our hearings. The next item on our agenda is approval of the minutes. Has everyone had an opportunity to review the minutes of May 9th? No,
I'll make a motion to approve.
no, I'm sorry, it wasn't.
May 9th?
It is May.
Client's design.
No, May 16th.
Yeah.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of May 16th.
Is there a second? Mr. Cool, you want to second that?
I'll second
There
that.
you go. All those, that's right, you can second it.
That was my first second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, unanimous vote. Okay, we have an administrative request. If you remember, and Scott did not vote on this, Mark was not here, but 22 Ashton Ave, Bentley, we approved a home occupation as a landscaper. There were some requirements in terms of landscaping, and there was also a requirement for some gate and fencing. And Mr. Bentley has gone forward with all of the landscaping. And I might add, I think he's done a very nice job with it, but was not able to comply with the June 1 deadline for the gate and the fencing, and he is simply asking for permission to extend that to the 15th of June.
Could I suggest possibly July 1st,
I
just
agree, because right now we're bumping up to the 15th.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he's waiting for this decision. I couldn't
And he
get it in
also-
at the last
Yeah, he
meeting.
also has some of the materials already there, so you
Right.
know he's doing it.
Move to July 1st, extension of the deadline.
And there's a second by Patty. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, unanimous vote. Okay, Sue,
Thank
do you
you.
just want to give us an update on the staff position?
I met with Julian, Denise, and Brian Curry yesterday regarding the staff position, because, as you know, I've been emailing them, trying to find out when they were going to post it, because I am just slightly overwhelmed. They decided to make one small change in the job description where any clerical services between the planning board and the ZBA may be utilized if one needs help and the other can give them the help.
You can share.
So, for clerical things, yes. And they posted the job this morning.
Good.
So the union did sign off on the modification?
Yes.
Okay, so it's posted. So I think we're moving on. The thing is, though, that I would like to encourage Sari, if she does need help during this process, to seek that help. Not necessarily from me, by the way, but, temporary, whatever else, because we are 3 weeks in a row of hearings here. Suri has site visits to do. The office is uncovered when she is
I
doing
haven't
site
been able to go
visits.
do them because we've been getting busy. It is that season. When the building department gets busy, we get
Yeah.
busy.
So
And I do have administrative approvals that I need to do that
So
aren't in front of the
I
board.
don't think we need to take any action other than to sort of support Suri and encourage her to get the help that she may need in this process.
I've utilized a board member
And I've
and
had to
somebody in
clean
town
up
hall has
after.
helped. Yeah.
Oh, did I say that? All right, so that was it. We just, as of this afternoon, we weren't sure that it was going to be posted, and we wanted to make sure that it was.
I'm concerned about the candy supply.
Yes, me too.
I just haven't had time to go to the store.
It's getting low.
Next meeting is.
And I saved chocolate for Julie now.
Next meeting is next week at 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock.
It's a 40B, so anyone who doesn't remember the 40B things, take a look at it. The rules and regulations, the case law, and that's pretty interesting. And then we meet again the following week, and that's at 6 o'clock.
Oh, it is.
June 20th is 6?
6
I'm sorry.
Okay.
That's right, we accommodated,
Oh, no.
Okagawa? No.
no, Hokidogawa is not till July 25th.
I think
I think you're mixing
It's
I could
July.
be.
the 13th.
you're right.
Yeah.
13th to the 20th.
Okay. At least I get Ken here in time.
Yeah, July 20th is 6:30.
All right, so anything else? Anyone have agenda items,
Yeah.
Scott?
Yeah, I'd like to congratulate Matt on his reappointment, and
Thank you very much.
very happy about
I
it.
want to thank all of you for your support. That was a tremendous show of support that I haven't seen from any other board, so thank you very much.
Great.
All right, with nothing else to come before the meeting, I will adjourn it. Thank you.
Thank you. It's freezing in here.
Yeah.